Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast episode. Is this 86, Evan?
Should be 86.
Oh, nice. I actually guessed that. Good stuff. We're off to a good start. I'm joined by a couple people here. Sean is at a family gathering. He's been there for a while. He's been missing for quite a while now. OJ's actually at a dinner tonight, but I have Nate. How you doing, Nate?
Not too bad.
Good to have you here. And then I have Evan, of course. Evan's here tonight. What's going on, Evan?
Just always busy trying to get these videos done this weekend.
Yeah, you have a couple you're working on, actually.
Yep.
A pretty sweet monitor review, actually. So looking forward to that one. And then Max took time out from Darksiders to come say hi.
Hello. Dreamcast guy happened to be in the house. Yes, playing a bunch of Darksiders right now.
That'd be fun to hear about on this week at some point.
Monday. I'm going to post it like Monday at about 7 a.m.
Cool. Okay, cool. That'll be really fun to see all of that. Let me go through here and what's everyone been playing this week. We'll just get right into that before we talk about Black Friday and all the other crazy stuff that's been happening.
Mm-hmm.
What's everyone been up to? What about Nate? Did you get Pokemon, Nate?
No, I haven't picked up Pokemon yet.
Wow, man, I'm like the only one that's played it here. Yeah, I am. I actually beat it the other day. I went through the Elite Four and I think I'm done with the game now.
I've been watching a Twitch friend of mine play it pretty much the whole way through. He just got to the point where you're fighting for the Masters, those different Pokemon Masters all over the place.
Oh, that's at the end. That's after you beat the Elite Four. That's like post game stuff. But I don't think you really get much from it. I think you get like a certificate. Basically, it's like you did it. So I'm not really into those kind of rewards. But
I saw a video of someone fighting Mewtwo. Man, I almost want to buy the game just for that.
Yeah, you once it's like the other old ones. Once you beat it, the cave near Cerulean City opens up, and you go through a cave, and you can catch Mewtwo.
I saw the tweet of the person flying around above the area they were in, and they just started fighting some of the legendary birds.
Yes, yes. You can do that when you fly around. I can get on like your Charizard, like fly around. So you can ride all the different types of Pokemon, and you actually get the starters real easy. Like you basically, it's hard to miss them. Like Charizard, you walk up to somebody and they're like, or a Charmander, like, hey, you want a Charmander? And then they just give it to you.
Wow.
And that's it. Bulbasaur, I think I caught Bulbasaur in Viridian Forest. I think there was just one just running around. So they'll just kind of pop up, and the evolved forms will pop up too all over the place.
You even have access to the Alolans in this one as well.
Yes, I did see some people talking about that as well because they had picture or video of them with the Executor that's like super tall.
It's just in the Poke Centers. There's just a big dude in the Poke Centers who will trade you the Alolan versions of things.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna check that out. But yeah, I feel like I've had enough of the game at this point after playing through it. The one thing I will note is I never lost a battle in the game. It's a very easy game. I never had an issue. I think a lot of it has to do with when you're running through and you're capturing Pokemon, all of your Pokemon get experience. So your team is very even at the end. Whereas if you played it back in the day and you were just running through, you would end up with one really powerful Pokemon and the other ones would be like, okay. Like your starter would usually be like level 60 something and everyone else would be like 30 or 40 when you get to the end. But this time everybody in my party was like 60 plus when I got to the Elite Force and they all had level 50 Pokemon. So I just rolled right through them and that was it. It was pretty easy, but there are a lot of people talking about some of the end game. The end game's okay. It's more about like completionist stuff rather than getting anything really super cool at the end.
It's relatively, so I mean, you knocked it out in about a week. So is it pretty like bam, bam, bam?
25 hours, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I took my time. I was even walking around just capturing stuff. That's why I ended up, apparently, when I got to the end at level 60, that's higher than what a lot of people got there as. Just because I was walking around just catching stuff.
Yeah, I think my buddy beat the Elite Four at like 50 something.
Yeah.
52.
So I was just running around capturing stuff because you build catch chains. So as you catch the same Pokemon over and over again, you'll get more experience and you get a better chance to get a shiny, I believe is what the talk is right now. So that's kind of how that works. But apparently you can keep restarting your game when you see Mewtwo, and you can actually get a shiny Mewtwo as well. Just by restarting your game over and over again. So,
well, I don't have that kind of time, but man, it would be legit.
Yeah, I don't really. I feel like I would save that for next year's game when that's going to be more linked to everything, and I guess more quote unquote, hardcore / mainline. I guess you want to say. But if you remember Pokemon Yellow, Red, and Blue from back in the day, you'll enjoy this because of the nostalgia. It is there. Like you see a lot of the same events from then on like the 8-bit, Game Boy brought into, more modern times. And it's pretty cool. There's some cool parts to the game. I will say that. So I enjoyed it, but didn't take it too seriously. Now I've already moved on. So that's Pokemon though for me. But what about Nate? What you been up to, man?
Mostly I've been playing. How do you Toki? I guess it's the remake of like that game from 1989 where the guy becomes a monkey and you have to save your girlfriend from a wizard.
What? Are you sure you didn't dream this game?
It's Toki. Interesting.
Toki or Taki? I don't. Toki is
Toki. What is that on the Switch?
Yeah, it's coming out in a couple of weeks. I think it's the first week of December it comes out. I'm sure you've seen either like the limited edition, because the publisher's been pushing like the limited edition retail version. It comes with like its own arcade stand and.
You sure that's what it is? Google's telling me it's.
I'm looking at the video for it
company
now.
in Turkey.
I'm looking at video for it now. Okay, it looks kind of like the animation looks actually pretty interesting on it.
Yeah, it's like a hand-drawn thing. I actually have footage that I was supposed to publish on my channel like 5 hours ago, and I completely forgot about it. So I guess I'll do that right now.
There you go. Okay. So that's what you've been playing. That's out. You said.
I think it's December 4th, but
okay, interesting.
I'm not 100% sure of that.
Okay, that's the big thing you've been playing though, to capture footage for that.
Yeah, that and Warframe. So
I was going to ask about Warframe because I think everyone here has played that on the Switch as well, which that's actually a topic we'll probably go over here soon because that took up a lot, and Evan knows all about that game, so I'm sure that'll be interesting. We'll hold that off for the topic after we're done with this. But is that about it, Nate? I know Warframe probably took up a good bit of time.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I can't really think of anything else I've been playing.
What about Evan?
Warframe, and because I had to do the monitor review, and I actually hooked up that PlayStation 4 you gave me like months ago. I beat Spider-Man, so that one's done.
Ladies and gentlemen, he beat Spider-Man.
We did it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We did it. We got Evan, who's a PC person, to play a PS4 Pro and play all the way through Spider-Man. I assume it was decent enough to where you were interested in it.
It was all right.
Through it. What did you think of Spider-Man? I'm honestly curious. What did you think of Spider-Man?
After all the hype, after everyone talking about their reviews and stuff, the city itself didn't feel like New York. Like, it didn't have that overall feel because it felt like shorter and more like narrow. But I mean, that upped the arcade value to the game, just because you're just going to quickly traverse it and get by things, because every block's only like, God, every block feels like maybe 30 feet in length. Like, that's not a lot. But the gameplay itself, the combat, it's smooth enough. But they didn't really try too many difficult things during the game. So
I mean, the story was pretty fun too. Were you interested in seeing Miles Morales in there with him?
It was all right. It was all right. This universe, the one that you're in for this game, feels a lot different from like all the others. So it at least had that going for it.
Well, it sounds like they're gonna have another one coming out. So I don't know.
They're good.
It's gonna be called Spider-Man 2, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they'll just have a subtitle. But I like that Spider-Man game a lot. Next up, you got to try God of War, Evan.
I hope the sequel's called Spider Cop and we actually get to play as him.
Oh man, yeah, you have to play it. Yeah, you got to play God of War next, Evan. That's the other big one.
I might check it out.
I think I have that digital. See, I should have got it physically. But I am done with Pokemon, Evan. So if you want to borrow that, you can.
I'm not really looking forward to that.
I like Spider-Man was fun. But you also play Gran Turismo, right?
A little bit, yeah. Not too much into the really finicky racing games where you're trying to tweak everything and get it all perfect. I prefer the arcade ones, the Need for Speeds and all that. So,
how did it look? How did it look on that monitor?
It looked all right.
Yeah,
definitely looked. It looked really sharp. A lot of visual aspects of the backgrounds and everything.
HDR and everything, right?
Yep, HDR on full 4K.
I think probably looks sick. I think that's native 4K. That game is.
Yep.
60 frames. Yeah, that probably looks sick. Cool though. That's good. Those are some good games to try out on there with Spider-Man. That God of War is another good one, man. God of War. A lot of people are saying God of War blows Spider-Man out of the water pretty much. God of War is really good. It looks really good too. I think that's probably I'm gonna say it's probably the best looking game on the PS4 next to Red Dead.
It might be hard to go from jumping to not jumping.
The problem is God of War uses HDR better than Red Dead.
I could see that.
Yeah, Red Dead has some weird issue with this HDR. I don't know what the deal is there.
It's just palating. The art team at Rockstar probably went one direction that they thought was realistic, and I mean, if you really consider the real world and HDR, it is a lot of browns. Like that whole next gen brown, it's not a joke. It's
I should have grabbed that physical copy of God of War for 17. Oh well. Yeah. So what about Max? What you been up to, man?
Man, I finally, this Black Friday, I bought a bunch of stuff. We'll get into in a bit. But one I finally got that I'm actually, I've talked a lot to friends, but never on the podcast, is I've been wanting to play through the remake of, or the re-release of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, because this is a real great hidden gem from the Wii U. And a lot of people just kind of discount it as like a goofy little game. It is fantastic. And playing it on Switch is a lot better. So I played this in handheld for about 5 hours yesterday. And it's so freaking fun. It's so cool having to tap the screen for certain puzzles and actually have to move the camera and think of like all these problems so three-dimensionally. I'm really hooked on it. I'm super, super happy I freaking finally bought this.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I played the demo. I did play it on the Wii U a bit, but apparently the 3DS port is really good, which is interesting. Like just in terms of it working and everything. But yeah, the Switch version was pretty fun. That demo I played, and it ran fine. So it's a cool little game. Like, kind of I guess hidden on the Wii U a bit. So that's actually a game I'm glad they brought over to the Switch, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I'm glad is on Switch. It's definitely my favorite version of it now is Diablo 3. I'm still playing a ton of that. I now have 3 level 70 characters that are all max geared. It's so good. And the most interesting thing is I think the Switch community is taking up that game like storm. At any time, 24 hours a day, I can jump online and just instantly get games of people running bounties nonstop on max difficulty. It is.
Did you see that?
So
that game probably got a bit of a bump even after Black Friday, because apparently Walmart was accidentally selling it for $17.
I heard that. Yeah, man, it's so good, man. I think that's going to be one of those new, like, I have a list in my mind. I consider like the games that every single person needs to get, like these 10 games for Switch, and that's definitely on the list now.
Were you and Jocelyn playing together?
Yeah.
She got the Diablo Switch, didn't she?
Yeah, she got the Diablo Switch, and she actually gave me the box. She was about to throw the box away, and I was like, "No, babe, I need that for the collection." So
how's that Switch look in person with like the etching on the back?
It's really cool. So yeah, there's etching on the back of the Switch unit, and then on the dock, the front has like angels and demons fighting, and on the back there's like all these runes and stuff.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I wanted to see the Smash one as well, but that Diablo one I was happy with because it actually had something like on the Switch. So
I'm gonna grab the huge ass box because I just think it's also the coolest box ever, since it's just literally like murals. I'm just such a Diablo fanboy, so I love all the lore and the art. So just seeing like real classic style Diablo art, it's like, yes.
Oh, that is really cool looking. That's cool. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then you're playing, of course, you can't talk about Darksiders yet, but you are.
I can say just general impressions. It's good. It's very different. I think like we were talking before we went online, very different team handled Darksiders 3. So if you're just looking for Darksiders 2 again, it's not quite that.
Oh, you got it. You got that Xbox One S, right? Or you already got that sucker fired up?
So I got the Xbox One S all hooked up. Here's the controller for it, actually.
Cool.
Man, yeah. I'm so glad I finally freaking replaced my Xbox One, because that thing was about to freaking disintegrate. So
nice. Yeah. Cool. Jump into that. Are you playing Darksiders on the Xbox?
No, I'm playing it on PS4.
Oh, okay, cool.
I told them code on anything, and they sent one over for PS4.
Nice. All right. Very good. Yeah, that's that. And I was playing Monster Boy. I'll have a video out for Monster Boy tomorrow, but I absolutely love that game. So it's a game you want to check out. It's December 4th, I think it's out, but that's a game that all the visuals are all hand drawn. They actually, I think they pushed back like the release date because they switched over to that midway through. And it's an open world action adventure style RPG style game. But it's cool. It's based on it's similar to Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy was out last year. It's similar to that, but you transform. There's like 6 different creatures you turn into, and they all have different abilities. And you upgrade your weapons. You buy new weapons. You explore stuff. It's pretty cool, and it's full 1080p 60, and then docked, and then 720p 60 when in handheld mode. So performance is good. It looks great. Like resolution, everything. It looks very, very good. So I'm very happy with it so far. But I'll have like actual gameplay and impressions out tomorrow on just a few things they could do a little better with it, and I'll talk about that tomorrow. But otherwise, it's worth it. And they're having physical copies of the PS4 and the Switch version. so they will have physical copies, despite it being more on the side of an indie title. But excited to see that actually happen. That's one I'll probably buy a physical copy of, even though I got a review copy for it. So good game overall, though. So Black Friday, what did we all buy?
Okay, good. I have my giant stack here, and I'm ready to.
I know you want to talk about what you got. You want to talk about what you got.
I got
Rex in the chat. What's up, Rex?
I got the Xbox One S. Obviously, they had the $200 one, and my Xbox was about to break, so I got a Xbox One replacement. I didn't get the Xbox One X. I just still don't have a 4K TV. But when it comes to Black Friday deals, okay, let's run through it. So let's do Switch first. Got 3 Switch games. Got Captain Toad. I got the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle because they had that for $20, and then I got the $10 copy of LA Noire. This has got all the DLC. I got Gears of War 4 for like $3, and then I got Horizon Zero Dawn for $5. That's the complete edition. Resident Evil Gold Edition with all the DLC. That one was $20. Far Cry 5 was $20, and then I've got a ton of 3DS games, and I'll let everybody go after me. I'm just so excited because I got so many good ones, including the freaking Bravely Default games and Pokemon and everything. Yeah, so it was a good Black Friday. I'm very happy. It was one of those things where me and Jocelyn, like we got together right after we ate dinner with our families, got together and just started hitting stores. It was great.
It's different now, isn't it? Because I feel like it's not as busy now as it was like 5 years ago.
It feels very crazy. When I got there, I mean, I got there right as like doors were opening for Best Buy. There were practically like knife fights in the aisles. People were dragging HD TVs with their bare hands and shit, man. It was nuts.
I just went to Walmart and they didn't even have anything ready. They were putting games out when I got there, and I was like, "What is this? What is going on?" I got there at like 8:30, and I think they opened at 6. I was like, "What is happening right now? How did you guys not like get ready for this?" What did I got? I got Detroit Become Human. That was $20. I did get Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. That was $35 physical on the Switch. And then I saw Mortal Kombat XL. It was like $10 on the Xbox One X, and I wanted to get that because I didn't have a physical copy of it. But the games over at Walmart weren't that great. I'll admit. I was a little let down by them. They didn't have half the games out. That was an issue. And then otherwise, they just didn't have anything. I was like, I think I would have had a better run at Best Buy. I think that would have been better for me to go there. Or even GameStop.
Best Buy and GameStop definitely had the best things. The worst, in my opinion, was Target. We hit Target, and Target had like nothing. Like Target was basically like, "Hey, how do you feel about last year's Call of Duty?" Like, why would I want that?
Yeah. Like God of War for $17 is a steal. That would have been.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest 11 was also kicked down to I think $30 even on the PS4 online. That was on Amazon. I already have it. But if you don't, that's a good deal for Dragon Quest 11. That game took me quite a while to get through. So I think it was, what did I say? Was it 50, 60, 70 hours, something like that? Takes a while. And then I was still not even close to being done because there's actual like good post-game content in that. So yeah, a lot of deals there. Nate, did you hit Black Friday at all?
The only thing I got was Uncharted: The Lost Legacy for $10 from GameStop, but I did that online. So
I saw that. That looked really good. You know what was interesting when I was at Walmart? I almost bought one of those arcade cabinets. You know, the one that Sean got and was talking about.
I saw those on sale. Yeah,
it was down to $150. And I really thought about it because they had the Rampage one there, but I hedged on it because I didn't feel like carrying it out of the store because they're heavy and annoying.
I think it was big, dude. So they had that at my Walmart. There was a huge display of them right next to the entrance, and they even had 2 built so that you could see them like on and playing. And I saw so many people like hovering around, look at them, but nobody wanted to drag this like 80-pound machine through to the register.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's like, oh gosh, like if they had like you go out back and they just pull your car up and they throw it in, I'd be like, all right, that's interesting. But there's a really good guide on YouTube. I have to look it up again who did it, but they actually show you how you can put a Raspberry Pi in one of those 1-up cabinets.
Whoa!
You can play anything you want. They also go over how to change out the buttons and everything. Someone in the chat could probably point out who that is that I'm referring to. I just can't remember their name. Sean knows too, but I saw that video and I thought about it and I was like, that would be fun to have that, like a full-on cabinet that has RetroArch and you can play anything you want.
Yeah, because we used to have an arcade like that with the hacked classic Xbox, and it'd be great to have one of those back.
Yes. ETA Prime. There you go. Yes, it's a good video. I do check it out if you want to get one of those, because if you can get one of those for like $150 like I saw at Black Friday, and you drop a Raspberry Pi in there, and you can change out all the buttons. You could have a $300 machine, it's the same price, with all new buttons and the stick and everything, and all your games on there for cheap. It'd be awesome. So I thought about it. I still need to install that HDMI port in my 64 though, so I guess I gotta do that first before I do anything else. But so Evan, did you do any Black Friday stuff? You didn't do anything, did you?
I actually worked. I was at work.
You were in the trenches then on Black Friday.
Yep.
Was it during the day or was it early?
It was later.
Oh, okay. So it was after like the madness took place?
Yeah, just about.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, that's fine. Yeah, that was, like I said, it was mayhem at Walmart because they were just trying to get everything out. But you're right, though, Max. Everybody was walking around with TVs and everything. They were dragging TVs around.
Yeah. Well, Best Buy had like this channel to basically like make people flow like water to the registers, and people were practically busting through their fake walls to try and get to the registers before everybody else. People are on crack for Black Friday, man.
I don't really need another TV, but some of those deals were pretty good. I'll admit that. There were some good deals.
There was a 55-inch for $400 that I almost bought. I have such small rooms. Like, this is such a big house. I have the two smallest rooms in the house. My roommates have the big rooms, and I'm like, man, if I bought a 55-inch, it'd be one of my walls. But I was almost tempted to.
Well, that's what I was saying. You should just get a 4K monitor, Max.
Yeah,
like they have like 28-inch or even 31-inch 4K monitors, but you get a good refresh rate. There's no lag or anything, and it looks really good too. So that's what I'd recommend for you. That's what I use here. Is a 28-inch 4K monitor. They're not bad. You can get a really nice one for like $300 now.
It does sound good. I don't like to go below 30. Normally below 30 inches for some reason, just because for whatever, I like to have a 30-inch TV pretty close to my face when I review games. But I might try and get a 30-inch 4K one for cheap.
Yeah, they have them out there. Like, I know Cyber Monday obviously is coming up. That might be a good time to look, or even just going towards the holidays. But I have an Asus something. I know Acer has their Predator series too, but the whole point of that is like the lower refresh rate, so everything's really responsive when you're playing. Black Friday I think went over pretty well. It didn't feel as crazy as usual. Maybe the deals weren't there. I don't know. I was looking at the games. I just didn't feel overly excited for anything that maybe want to run out and do a doorbuster or anything.
I think part of it is that we are at the end of this console cycle. Yeah, I know it's not official yet, but I think it's like a lot of the games we all want, we have at this point. Like, I mean, look at most of what I bought. The thing I bought most of was freaking 3DS games. I think that's a statement that we're kind of in the clearance mode. People aren't exactly like clawing each other's eyes out for Final Fantasy 15 or anything this year.
If I didn't have a PlayStation VR, I probably would have grabbed one of those because they were $200 with Astrobot and Moss. I think if I didn't have that, I would have grabbed that. But I already have that. Surprised you didn't get the PlayStation VR, Max. You probably thought about it, huh?
Hard, long and hard.
Yeah.
I stared at it. I had the money in my bank account for it. I was like, I did. The main thing was that there was one left and it was pretty beat up. It looked like somebody had like done a suplex wrestling move from the top ropes into the PlayStation department of Best Buy. Like, literally, games were upside down, shelves were ripped out. I was like, I'm not gonna pick up this destroyed copy of PSVR and hope it works.
So, what do you guys want to start with tonight? Do we want to start with the Zelda rumors? Do you want to start with the Pokemon sales? What are you guys feeling?
I kind of want to talk Warframe at some point, just since we're still on the topic of what we played.
Let's do Warframe first. Let's get into Warframe released on Tuesday to massive interest. In fact, they were having server issues because everyone was hitting this thing so hard on the Switch. This is done by Panic Button, Digital Extremes, and so far it seems like a lot of people are enjoying this game. And especially because I think there are a lot of people who either played it back, like I talked to you, Evan, I played it back in like 2014 when it was very new and it had nowhere near the content or some of the features it has now. Quality of life stuff, definitely. And then I look back at it now and I'm like, this is a completely different game. Like completely different. But what do you think, Max? You really want to get into this?
It's so good. So I came into this completely blind. I'd never really messed with Warframe very much. It is so accessible. It's just like, I don't know, there's so much cool combat. The questing system is really good. I think that the first hour of the game is kind of like a tutorial. I love the fact that you just get thrown into random parties. It all really functions.
Yeah, I hope they get because they keep talking about crossplay and maybe cross progression. I would love to see that where you just sign into your account and you can play like how we did that with Fortnite, where I was playing on my Xbox. You were playing on you weren't playing on your PlayStation. It's good. You're playing on your Switch, and I think Sean was playing on his Switch as well. And that worked. That was really cool to have that. But Warframe does have native voice chat. which is good.
I
You can.
I used it. Yeah, I used it quite a bit.
Oh yeah, how'd that sound and everything for you?
It sounds a lot better than Fortnite did at launch.
Oh,
It doesn't have that tinny cell phone filter sound to it, but it's very quiet. There's a setting where you can turn up how loud voices are, and that doesn't seem to work. I think that's glitched. I tried to turn volume up, and it just didn't seem to really work.
Did you play around with like the movement options in the game? Because when I played it at first, this is back on the PC, like back in the day, I don't remember having like the wall running and like the slide jumping and like dragging corkscrews.
A lot of that did exist back when you started playing it. The current wall jump to jump kick type thing didn't.
Yes.
The original way was to slide, kick, jump, and then melee. So you would spin and the animation would throw you forward. But they changed it to the other one. But the wall running and wall climbing as it is now, and wall clinging, and even the wire clinging that they added, is vastly different from when you started.
Okay. It was an interesting thing to see that, just the movement options and everything. But when we were running through the missions, it was pretty fun. It had kind of that action third person RPG style. There's a lot of stuff to do in that, a lot of customization in that game. It is slightly overwhelming. So, but the one thing that definitely wasn't there, because you explained this, was the open world or the hub world, Evan.
You didn't get to go to the Cetus open world, but the second open world isn't there yet.
You're right. Yeah, but I mean, like where you can kind of have like that social hub.
Well, the social hubs, they are there. There's several of them. We landed in Cetus, which is the main city. It's kind of the social hub for that first one. But there are other ones floating around in space that are just basic hubs, not really as open as the main world with quests and everything.
Evan, how many hours do you have in that game again?
1.4. Yeah, 1,400.
1,400 hours. So, yes, guys, there's a lot of stuff to do in that game. Nate, what'd you think of Warframe? Was this your first time playing it?
Yeah, this was my first time. I mean, it definitely reminds me of Destiny, but in a good way, not the terrible way that Destiny reminds you of Destiny. And it kind of has like a Mass Effect feel to it too. Like I like the settings, I like the speed of the combat. I'm really early in the game, but I think I'm mostly impressed with how well it performs in handheld on Switch.
Yes, because you're right. When it does look really good on that screen.
So that's really what impresses me, is that I can just, play it in my leisure in handheld mode, and it doesn't feel compromised.
Okay. And it does feel kind of like Mass Effect, right? You're talking about the settings. If you go into the settings and you look in the options menu, you can play around with actual visual effects and stuff, which was on the other systems, but like to have it on the Switch that caught me off guard a little bit.
I turned out, as soon as I started recording my video, the first thing I did is I turned off motion blur, because motion blur looks weird when you record it. And I just feel like it made everything just look so cool. Like the fact that you can turn off like reflection effects and turn down particle physics and all that. It's like, what the heck?
That was weird. Yeah, when I saw that it was like turn down particle effects, I was like, I can do that? That's okay? I'm allowed to? Like, I felt like I was like breaking the wall doing that on the Switch. It was weird.
Well, and it makes me happy, because I guarantee the most hardcore of the hardcore players who get really like deep into Switch multiplayer are definitely going to turn off all those options, so they load that microsecond faster. So I'm sure the Switch tutorial videos are going to be people with minimal UIs.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have everything turned off so they get that rock solid frame rate. Let me go through some of the super chats here before we talk about some of the rumors and news and stuff. Wishbone says, did you guys know that Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo had online services? Sega Channel and the X-Band. See if you can get access to a private server for it. I do know obviously Sega Channel. I know X-Band. X-Band had, what game was that? I'm gonna have to look that up. They did use, I know, at least one game that the Super Nintendo one used. It was, the cover was like two like warrior looking guys with one had an axe. I'm trying to remember what that game was called. But yes, I do remember seeing that, even the little cartridge and stuff that you needed with like the modem on the side. I wish I could remember what that game was called. I think there was only like 2 games that used it too.
Sega Channel was legit. The rich kids had it in my neighborhood. I'd see it.
Weapon Lord. Thank you. Thanks, KG. Weapon Lord. So everyone had a lot of people at Sega Channel though. Sega Channel was awesome. So that was how we had Wily Wars back in the day. Was through Sega Channel. That was such a cool idea back then, though. The problem we ran into was it was a service, so it went away. And there's games like Wily Wars that you can't get anymore unless somebody makes you a repro of it. But did anyone else have the Sega channel back in the day?
A buddy of mine did. It's how we played. I think Comic Zone. They cycled that into the list, and we'd randomly pick games out throughout the day. It was awesome.
Yeah, for the people who never got to try it, it was like 40 games at a time, right? Where it was like Netflix, but if you had 40 games accessible. So when you paid for the service, you actually got a Genesis cartridge, plugged into the system, screwed a coax like early internet cable into the side of it, and then downloaded like a series of games each month. And that was the way I got to play a lot of the weirder Sonics, like Sonic Spinball. My parents were never going to buy me a Sonic Pinball game, but I could install it there.
And some of the games were actually too big for that cartridge. I think it was Mortal Kombat. You had to download half, and then it would give you the other half.
It was so funny. It would split it up. Yeah, you'd have like half the roster, and then you'd have Mortal Kombat 3-2 or something. It was really funny. I remember that, though. You're right, Evan. That was so funny when that was happening. Pulse Man, that was another good one. Deep Entertainment. That was also exclusive to Sega channel.
And there was I think that's where I played Rocket Knight for the Sega. That was
Dude, yeah.
Deathwish Cassidy asks, why is the Punch-Out protagonist not in Smash?
What?
I don't know what that means.
That's like saying, that's like asking why. What?
It'd be a weird echo. It would be a waste of an Echo Fighter because they wouldn't give him an original moveset. He'd just be a little Mac. Or I don't know.
I don't really know what that means, but
yeah, I mean,
it's just a general why isn't this character in Smash question.
Yeah,
gotcha.
but Little Mac is the protagonist of Punch.
Yeah, that's right. I'm thinking of the Wii version or something. Yeah, what the hell?
Okay. Ruffle says, being a PC gamer is hard. Been trying to find a new card for my PC, and my power supply unit is 460 watts. i7 6700, 60 gigabytes of RAM. Currently on a GTX 960. Came pre-installed. PS4 Pro silent fan model, worth it. I mean, you can upgrade to like Evan. Yeah, you really like your 1060, don't you, Evan?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
How many power inputs that thing have? One?
Yeah, one.
Yeah, it's like a 6-pin, right?
And it's even half the size of my old, I think, 9 series card or whatever I had.
Yeah, if you get the 1060, 6 gigabyte, you can do 1440 without too much issue with like medium settings. Or the 1070 is pretty sweet, and they have some of those 1070s under $300 for Cyber Monday. Although you might want to check the power inputs. I know your 460 watt will be fine, but you want to check your power inputs to make sure it matches up. But the 1070 is probably the jump I would make for the money, because the 1080, while it's getting cheaper, is still not to really where I'd want it to be yet. The 1070 that'll conquer 1440 for you, no problem. So 1080, you might as well get a 144 hertz monitor because you're gonna be pushing some frames to that. But yeah, I would go to that. I'd go to a 1070 if you can, because that'll actually cost you less than the PlayStation 4 Pro that's silent now. So that's just heads up there. Everything else you have is good. i7 6700, 6 gigabytes of RAM. You'll be fine there. So we also had, interestingly enough, rumors for a new Zelda.
Yeah.
And this was odd because it was on Game Informer's podcast, and it was talked about by their editor, who was probably someone who would have information about something like that, whether they're writing articles or putting together the cover. They do get a lot of cover stories, and they get a lot of exclusives as well. Because of course Game Informer and GameStop are like, intertwined basically.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think about a new Zelda game possibly in 2019? And the other question is, where would we even fit that thing in? Because we feel like Bayonetta is showing up in 2019, right? Or even Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you fit Zelda with Luigi's Mansion and then also Animal Crossing?
I think so. My full theory is I think that this is probably going to be a 2D, like 3D sprite remake of Link's Awakening, because that's been my dream forever.
Oh, come on. That better be it.
That's one of my favorite games. And we've heard rumors that they've been messing with it, that they've been trying to do something with the Link's Awakening game, since it's still such a high-selling game that they've never really brought back.
Yes.
And also, I think that they'll probably just drop it early summer. I would say like May, like just before E3, just as a like, here you go. Just, hey, you guys want another Zelda? Here's this thing. We're going to put in all these collectibles. It's going to have like homage weapons to like Breath of the Wild. It'll be new. It'll probably be $50, even though it's just a little 2D Zelda. And I think everybody like me will be happy.
Okay. What about Nate? What are you thinking about this Zelda stuff?
I mean, if if one comes in 2019, I would suspect that it would come during the holiday season, in probably like a November release. And my expectation is that it would be a top-down Zelda, because Nintendo has gone on record to say they're not abandoning that style for the franchise.
Yeah, I thought Miyamoto mentioned that at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, it was either Miyamoto or Onuma. One of them said that they're going to continue that style after Link Between Worlds.
So I'm all for that. I like the top-down Zeldas.
Yeah, so that would be my expectation, especially for it to come this quick, if it is 2019. And that's where this rumor, I find it funny, is that all Imran actually said was a Zelda is coming sooner than we think. And for some reason, people immediately jumped and assumes it has to be 2019. Whereas, I mean, we get a Zelda, every 5 years? So sooner than we think could be 2021. It doesn't have to be next year, so we had
an okay cycle going, wasn't there? Like, didn't we have Zelda going like every 2 years almost there? Because the 3DS team was always working on like they had a team for the Worlds.
They had the port. I mean, you had Ocarina 3D,
yes,
and then you had Majora's Mask, and then you had the Link Between the Worlds, and then you had Triforce Heroes. So I mean, you had 2 ports, 2 original games, but the only one that was actually ambitious would have been Link Between Worlds.
Sure.
So, I mean, in this case, let's say 2019 does happen for Zelda. It's top down, and it is a remake of Link's Awakening or Season of Ages or something.
Ooh, I'd buy that too.
Yeah. Like, I don't think we're going to see Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword come to Switch, just because after Breath of the Wild, going back to that old style for a 3D Zelda, it probably would feel a little jarring, especially this soon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually a good point I didn't think of, yeah.
Like, so, I think that smaller one, like a top-down, lower budget, style one would be a good, I think, midway point, before they do what's probably going to end up being. I mean, we all think there's gonna be another Zelda game on the Switch, but it'll probably be like not one of the last games, but it'll be in like the later years of the Switch, probably even becoming going to the next generation as well, as they're all Tegras. That's kind of what we think there. They're going to be building this next Zelda game for like the next 5 years or whatever it is from when the other one released. I think that'd be cool to have like a top-down Zelda game drop in like November or even early 2020 or something.
Well, and I also feel like it opens the door for maybe if they end up start doing some sort of Switch Pro or Switch Mini or Switch whatever, if they start trying to do bundles, then they could bundle in and call it like the Switch Zelda bundle and literally put like a digital code for this one because it's going to be a cheap HD remaster in Breath of the Wild. You can tell they're trying to do whatever they can to keep the Switch selling as fast as it is, and a digital pack-in like that might as well.
Well, you would figure if they were going to do this, we would hear about it soon-ish. Not like soon. I mean, if they're going to release it in 2019, we'd have to hear about it by minimum. Like the latest would have to be E3.
That's why to a degree I'm hoping this isn't sort of like the Pokemon Quest situation where there's a company already making a game and then Nintendo approaches them with an interesting idea, and then we'd get basically the Zelda app.
Oh, what if it was a Zelda mobile game?
Yes, that's my issue. Like that's what I'm hoping.
Oh no!
Watch it be like Mario Run, and it's just Link constantly running, and you tap the screen to make him swing his sword.
And then swipe up to jump, and
swipe up to jump. Yeah, oh god, delete that idea.
That would hurt. I don't know. I guess that would hurt more than the 3DS game. Everybody wants it on the Switch, whatever it is.
So it's a Legend of Diablo.
Man, that would be funny. That'd be bad. That'd be funny. So we assume that had to be something they show us in January, or then later in maybe in April or even June. So, but if do you think they'd pull that in and make it a 2019 game if either Bayonetta or Metroid can't make it to 2019? Do you think that would be something they could use to fill the gap? Like, because then holiday they'd have, we assume Luigi's Mansion, like the new Luigi Mansion game is probably releasing it, we think, around Halloween. That makes sense. And then you'd have Pokemon, right? And then maybe you'd have something like, let's say Bayonetta released somewhere in there, and then you have Zelda. I guess that'd be a pretty good holiday then.
Yeah, I mean, a top-down Zelda wouldn't be viewed as big as the 3D Zelda, so it wouldn't be a Breath of the Wild type situation where people are like, "Oh my god, it's a brand new Zelda." It would still be popular, but it wouldn't be that megaton holiday release. So a title like Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, Animal Crossing, Pokemon would still have that holiday stronghold.
Yeah, it would. I mean, it'd still be you still get 5-6 million units out of that, no sweat.
I think that what they'll probably end up doing, if it's real, is they'll treat it like Samus Returns and be like, treat it like this cool honorary, like we're bringing this character back, and it's gonna be neat, but not market it all day long the way they're gonna do definitely with like Bayonetta and Metroid.
Yeah, what did Link Between Worlds sell? I don't think I ever looked that up.
800 million copies.
800 million. I'd have to check that to see what that did.
On day 2.
I'd be all for that. A top-down Zelda, a more traditional style Zelda for people like old people like me. Yeah, I'm in for that. That'd be awesome.
Well, it's funny how Nintendo has actually officially commented on liking making top-down Zeldas several different times, because they actually talked about that way back in the day after they made Minish Cap. Because that was like the last major Nintendo game on the Game Boy Advanced, and they came out and said like there will probably be 2D Zeldas in the future, and of course they did Link Between Worlds and everything. But it's funny that like they keep having to come out and like, why would you think we'd stop making these? They're easy to make, they're fun to make. Like we're just gonna keep making them.
So I found some sales I found for A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS is that its debut week in Media Create in Japan it sold 224,000 units in the first week. So that's pretty good, I'd say, for a top-down Zelda game on the 3DS in 2014. So that's pretty good there. But what do you guys think for final say on it? Yes or no? Zelda 2019.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna say yes as well. I think it's gonna be there. Mostly because I don't think it's going to be a Breath of the Wild type game. So
yeah, I'd hope so, and I'd hope it wouldn't just be an HD remaster or something old. Maybe like a re-envision of it. I'd like to see maybe some newer mechanics based on the system it's on. So
that's kind of what A Link Between Worlds kind of was, because it was still a playoff of Link to the Past, but it was different enough to where you rented weapons, right, and then you would go back and then you would buy those weapons later on. But you can do the dungeons in any order you want. So it was actually kind of cool.
I wasn't a fan of that personally.
Really? I love that game.
I thought it was. I like that Zelda usually feels very directed. Zelda really feels like this. You gotta freaking save Hyrule, Link. But this is the first one that I played where it's kind of like, if I put this down, it doesn't matter. But I know I'm alone in that.
Yeah, I can see what you're talking about. I liked it because there was even a twist in the game towards the end. It was weird. So it was. I really like Link to the Past, so I'm a little biased there, I guess. That's my favorite Zelda game, so it was cool to see like basically a sequel to it at that point. Hey, Max, you want to tell me about Fallout 76 and why it's so awesome?
Yeah, so the masterpiece that is Fallout 76. So funny enough, I think I still have my sealed. Yeah. So I got sent a copy of it to review on Xbox One, and I accidentally bought a copy of it on Amazon a million years ago and forgot. So here's my sealed copy of it as well.
Hey, it's worth $40 now, man.
Oh God, yeah. The fact that I got a price drop. So I have a huge video coming out about it tomorrow morning, where we bring back Doug Money to talk about it. But the big issue with Fallout 76 is that it is very clearly unfinished. There's not really another way to slice that cake. There are a lot of quest lines that seem to repeat themselves. Like there's like a whole series of like, is this a Survivor style missions? It's very frustrating. Honestly, I played so many of the missions. I got really deep. I did a bunch of in-game content, and it's a freaking dumpster fire.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like it's not very good. Yeah. Let's put it lightly, I guess. You're right when you say it feels like it's not finished. The part that feels unfinished is literally the quality assurance.
Yeah.
Like did it go through that? That's the question, because every person I've talked to about it, and I haven't bought it yet because I'm going to be honest, it's going to be $10 in like 3 months. Yeah. But everyone I talked to Wood about it, talked to others, it disconnects. They can't even play the game half the time.
So here's the thing that I definitely know is real, which is because I've gotten to talk to a couple of the developers now, is that the big thing is that they just had to have it out by November. They had to have it released. So they had that strict deadline. And there was the really big issue of the fact that they just had that looming over their heads. The game was so incomplete that when they threw the beta out there, the beta was very, very raw, and that was supposed to be the finished game. So I've calculated it. They've released 11 patches in the last 30 days. Like from the time the beta dropped, which is basically the final game, until now, we had 11 different patches.
Dude, the first patch was like 40 gigabytes.
Yes, yeah. And none of them really fix any of the primary things. They managed to fix a couple of the UI glitches. The menus are a little bit better. They fixed some of the physics errors, so when you shoot bodies, they don't fly away like a balloon anymore, but it's still just so bad.
The frame rate's tied to the logic, right? So if you stare at the ground, you run really fast.
They fix that to a great degree. That still happens. There's a video of two people doing a foot race, and
I saw that.
One person looks straight down and starts running like the freaking Flash in a DC comic book.
Oh man, that's so it's so like it's funny because it's bad. I'm not surprised, by the way, that it's $40 after 7 days of being on sale. We barely got the first Media Create sales charts before that thing's discounted. That's not normal. That's not normal at all. I'm gonna tell you that now. I know Black Friday and like the sale season stuff. That's not normal. Like you don't see that. I couldn't go in and buy Red Dead anywhere for $40.
So my big video coming out tomorrow, I'll go ahead and hint at it for the people that are going to tune in, but I'm going to do a big video basically arguing that this not only should have been early access, but I think it needed to be early access. And for a variety of reasons. Like part of the reason of early access games actually can patch for free whenever they want. They don't have to go through like the approval process every time. And I think this game needs constant updating. It is that destroyed that it needs a team of people constantly just gluing it back together. That's how bad it is.
I wonder if it's just the engine just wasn't ready to be used online. Like it was not an engine that should be used in a game like this.
I don't think it's that. My theory is that it's just that the game is not even, it is so unfinished, they weren't able to compile a lot of it. Like you'll notice things like, there's lots of times where one of the famous glitches people like to show is the fact that sunlight will shine out of rocks randomly. It's clearly things that like the game just isn't, the glue isn't dry and they're trying to run it. So it's not that the game is having like engine issues is my personal opinion. I think it's the fact that the game is just so raw and they're trying to dump 8 million players into the world. So funny enough, when I reviewed the game, I met a bunch of people online who were very nice and very friendly. We had a bunch of great adventures. I added all of them to my Xbox friends list so we could play later. All of them have quit. I've been watching. All of them, every single one of these people who themselves told me that they love the game, all of them have already quit.
They're just done. They're just not playing the game anymore.
Because there's nothing to do. There's nobody to talk to. There's not like cool factions really. The factions are there, but they're basically just talking computer screens. It's done, man.
Wow, that's bad. This is such a bad look for Bethesda. Remember when Oblivion came out, or even Skyrim, we were like, Bethesda's the best company ever at making an open world game.
Mm-hmm.
And now like Rockstar and even Ubisoft are making them look bad.
Yeah.
You know, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, despite some of the dumb microtransaction stuff, the open world in there is really well done. Same with Red Dead Redemption. So it's like Bethesda's behind the times. I don't know if they need to update that engine or do something new with it, but it just, man.
But see, I mean, aren't they using the same engine on Starfield? Didn't they say that?
Yes, they're using that
coming Elder Scrolls
6.
It is, but I've read more technical stuff from certain developers that say that's not exactly. It's not exactly one-to-one. It's that those Legos are in the box, but they're not exactly using the same set. So I am still optimistic. But very much so, I think they needed to realize that they need to throw away about 95% of that engine. I was going to say, I think the reason they stick with it is that it's fast. I mean, let's face it, part of the reason they built Fallout 76 so quickly and Fallout 76 has such a massive map is because they just took Fallout 4 and started repasting buildings and repasting stuff like that. So my fear is that they'll just take Starfield and update the graphics and update the engine as much as I can and then still just copy and paste the same buildings.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a shame that people are already, obviously we already kind of have in our mind what's going to happen with Starfield. It's going to come out and see it broken and buggy and everything. But I guess we'll say I'm concerned that it's just going to look dated because their games now just look like Fallout 76 looks dated.
Yeah, well, I mean, Fallout 4 looked like an Xbox 360 game in almost every way. So
they look dated, and it's like. I guess they want to keep using the engine because you said it's cheaper probably to use it than to build another engine because that's going to take time and a lot of money. So they don't want to do that, and I guess they don't want to use a middleware like an Unreal Engine or something. So I don't know. Starfield is I will say Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 are going to be under a magnifying glass now because It's using that same engine. Fallout 76 was a disaster. 46 on Metacritic, I think.
Yep.
That is the same score as Sonic 06.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh, that's not a good legacy.
Let that sink in for a second there. Nate, did you play Fallout? Did you play Fallout 76? I didn't know if you.
No.
I think Max played it because he had to, but
Yeah.
I don't buy Fallout games until they're either like heavily discounted
or until you hear that the community's fixed it, which is usually how Bethesda deals things. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't rush out for Bethesda games really. Like I enjoyed Skyrim, and like Doom and Wolfenstein, but any of their open world stuff like the Fallout series, it doesn't really interest me just because I mean Fallout is basically Elder Scrolls and a post-apocalyptic age with guns.
right.
And I'd rather play the Elder Scrolls series than the Fallout games.
Yeah. I really liked Oblivion. When that came out, I thought that was amazing. Skyrim was pretty cool because of the dragons, but it ran terrible on my 360. Better on PC. And I don't know, it's weird how much have fallen from then. I don't know, just the way you see Bethesda now as opposed to then.
It sort of reminds me of when a YouTuber does like a crazy prank video and gets like 10 million views, and they just keep trying to replicate that magic, and they keep making increasingly more dramatic videos and going more and more off the rails. They kind of feel like that, where they're like, oh my God, Skyrim made us $80 billion. Okay, let's try and replicate that. Okay, let's try and rush Fallout 4. Okay, let's make Fallout 76. Okay, let's make an Elder Scrolls MMO. Just make it go, go, go.
Yeah, even Morrowind was really impressive for its time.
Yeah, I
That
actually
was insane.
I played a bunch of that this morning as a test on Xbox One X because on Xbox One S, because you can run it on the Xbox One S. Morrowind looks great. It runs. It has NPCs.
Yeah. do you have a nice Old Republic, right?
Yep, and that runs on there great too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pop that in, man. You get 60 frames on that sucker. Whew.
I also like it. It's a weird thing. I like that those games are technically so small. So when you put the disc in, it installs the game because, it just basically downloads a digital version of it in like 30 seconds. So you're just instantly playing like the best games of Xbox.
Did you? Oh, no, you didn't get the X. I was going to say you should have popped in Final Fantasy 13.
Right. I think I'm still going to play that anyways, just because I hear the S enhancements are still fine.
They upgraded the assets and everything, so it still looks really good, but it looks insane on the X. Like, it looks like a whole new game.
The Final Fantasy community is doing stuff where they take screenshots and zoom in on Lightning's clothes and stuff and be like, look at the fabric.
We used to do that back when the 360 first came out. I remember that.
Oh,
We'd be like, look how shiny this wall is. There's water on the wall.
Yeah, the water. Yep, the water in Gears of War. I remember somebody walking up and like sticking at his hand and watching the water bounce off his hand and be like, this is real water in the game.
It was great. I remember when we were playing Halo 2 and we got component cables for the flat screen TV we were playing on. We plugged it in. We have like network when you're playing online, you got like a green bar and it turns into like yellow and red depending on how your connection is. And when we plugged it in, we realized that they were like, it was like 10 different dashes because it just looked like one blur. It's like, it's amazing how blurred some of this stuff was on like older TVs.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't even play Dead Rising, right? You couldn't play that on old TV. The text was too blurry.
Yeah, the text was small. It was like a centimeter tall on a non-HD TV.
Let me get through a few of the super chats. One up, John. Could we see Nintendo-related content added to Warframe? Metroid would be cool. That's a good question, John. That would actually be really. I wonder if they would let them do that because right now there's no cross play. There's no cross progression. Although there is cross play in Rocket League, and that has the Samus car and the Mario car.
I think as long as they keep it not crossplay, it's possible. Yeah.
That would be really cool if they had like the Metroid, if they had like Samus's suit in there as an option, or even just the color scheme like preset and everything.
If they did it, it might be a color palette, or it would be an overlay skin for maybe one of the suits, and they'd probably do an overlay skin for the lander to look like her lander as well.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. Is I want my ship to look like her ship.
That would be cool. I would like to see that. I think that'd get people on board with that. I mean, like I said, they let the people from Rocket League, Psyonix, use some of their IPs. So with Nintendo now, it's hard to guess. It really is right now because Nintendo's all over the place. Rexol just says, dude, with an exclamation point and a question mark. How are you doing tonight, Rexol? And then Leo Aguilar talks about the Smash Ultimate leaks, which we're going to get into, saying people got ROMs of Smash Ultimate and streaming it. We won't talk about any spoilers here, so you guys don't have to worry about any of that. But we'll be talking about the leak that's now taking place. Now it's out there because people are streaming it on YouTube. I don't think they are now. I think they got taken out Nintendo, or somebody. But yeah, Smash is badly leaked right now. It's everywhere. And we'll talk a bit about that as well. So Pokemon, we talked about Pokemon Let's Go earlier. We had some sales numbers reported. I know Nate, you tweeted about it too, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of numbers? What kind of number did we get, Nate?
Was it 3 million in the first 3 days?
It was within the first week, basically. They didn't really say this much time, but within the first week, it was basically 3 million copies had moved. And keep in mind, some of those were the $100 versions with the Pokeball. So I think they made a lot of money.
So yeah. I mean, there were still only at like 25 million Switches, right? So that means that this is about an 11 or 12% attach rate for basically day one. That's insane.
Yes. Yeah. It was, and they did the numbers with Media Create because we'll have to wait for MPDs and stuff. But for the MPD, because it sold for Media Create, it sold over 660,000 copies in the first week. And you're right, Max. They measured that up, and it was 12% attach rate, which is better than everything back to Pokemon X and Y, because that had like a 16% attach rate.
God, my God.
Yeah. So everybody, and they managed to also in that same week in Japan sell just over 200,000 Switch units.
Oh my God, that's
a lot, because like the next slot down, I believe was the PlayStation 4 at 17,000 units. So there were a lot of Switch systems. It was definitely a Pokemon week in Japan. I will say that. Fallout actually launched there too. I think Fallout got like 60 or 70,000 units actually moved.
So one thing I want to pitch to you guys, because now that we're seeing it out here and just selling like crazy and selling Switches like crazy, how much do you guys think that this is because of the Pokemon Go cell phone app? Because honestly, everybody I talked to in real life who played the app really religiously bought a Switch in the last week for Let's Go.
I could see it being heavy in Japan for that reason, since the app works better in cities, and these people probably all bought them in cities. So they've probably been playing it for a while that way.
That's a good question. I would like to hear more about that from people who are actually because there are people actually polling people to see if they're interested in it. And there apparently is quite a bit of interest from the Pokemon Go community, but this really pulls right to them because they, it's Kanto. It's 150, 3 Pokemon I think are in it or something like that, because they have the new Pokemon that got added in. And Evan, you said the Alolan.
Yeah, a couple of the Alowans.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like it's really geared towards the older people, the older audience, and people who are playing Pokemon Go. I think you're right, Max. I think there are quite a few. We're gonna find out definitely in when's the next report? End of January, right? End of January. It's me a little bit, but we'll find out then, because they're gonna have to tell us how many. There's also the chance that they tell us about that before, because we heard about Mario Odyssey selling 9 million copies in 2 months, and this sold 3 million copies faster than Mario Odyssey did.
I mean, I think we'll hear something next week. We're going to hear something about the North American sales post Black Friday.
Yeah, I can see that. That
like
makes
if
sense.
They moved them. Let's just say hypothetically, they moved 1 million units just on Black Friday. Nintendo will put out a press release next week saying during the holiday week, Pokemon Let's Go sold 1.5 million units in North America Thanksgiving week. And then that's just people sit to say, wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically how you do it. You basically just throw that out there and say, look how many things we sold. And people go, oh, that's a lot. My question now is, what do you think the MPD is going to look like for November?
I would guess it would probably go something like, not counting bundles, like I'm not going to include the Spider-Man bundle, because that Spider-Man bundle probably moved 2 million units this week.
That's going to be counted.
Yeah. So, but like, I think Red Dead and Pokemon will definitely be among the top 3 games for the month of November.
Yeah, I can see that. I think because they're going to split Pokemon up, it's going to be like you'll see Pokemon or Let's Go Pikachu as probably I'm going to say number 3, and then you'll see Eevee as like number 5. So I'm going to say, because you'll have Call of Duty and then Red Dead at the top more than likely, because they're going to keep selling. But I do think those, and I think we'll hear something from the MPD saying if you add them together, they're number 1. That's the same thing happened in the UK. System wise, though, I think it'll go PS4, Switch, Xbox One, but they're going to say revenue wise, the Switch was number one. Like if you take like the dollar amounts, because of course the PS4 bundle was $200, and
I mean,
that's so easy to just go out and impulse buy, you know.
we'll probably MPD will go PS4 Switch, and I'll go crazy here, and I'll say 3DS.
Oh no,
then Xbox One.
Oh man, if that happens, that's gonna be. I mean, the Xbox had some deals though. There was the micro,
but a lot of retail musings from managers and even from like NPD trackers were saying the Xbox, they just were not moving because the deals weren't good enough. Software wasn't really moving. Hardware wasn't moving. Switch and PS4 were selling gangbusters. But I mean, at $199 with Spider-Man,
that's a deal though, man.
If Sony had 5 million units for stock, they would have sold 5 million units with ease. I mean, they were selling out of the Spider-Man bundles before Wednesday.
Yeah. So I went out there, and I can say from the ground floor, as somebody who's going to pick up an Xbox, there was a tower of Xboxes. There was a shattered hole in the floor where the PS4s were, and there were a couple Switches left. So it was very obvious that PS4 was the hardcore winner. But on the topic of agreeing with Nate, there were a lot of places that were actually doing special 3DS bundles. Like the stores themselves would make it where it's like, okay, if you buy a 3DS, you get one free game under $40, and like all other 3DS games you buy that day are 10% off. So I saw a lot of people, my roommate included, finally went, screw it, I'll buy Pokemon again.
Oh yeah. So I mean, they had that Mario Maker bundle, I think too, right? For $80.
Yeah, the $80 one. Yeah, and of course the purple one, my purple 3DS that I love so much, that was on sale.
I mean, you just picked up that whole stack of games that you got for like $17 each or something. You know, that's like a Christmas right there. 2DS XL and like 8 games.
Hell yeah!
I get the obviously the interest there. Because the Xbox One X was like $350 or $400 on Black Friday, $400. So you could pretty much have a bunch of stuff under the tree with, you know, things like the 2DS XL and tons of games. So that makes sense. It's gonna be interesting though. That's gonna be a fun MPD to see.
I mean, the Xbox One X for that price of like $350, that's a great price.
Yeah.
And I mean, Sony didn't even bother discounting the PlayStation 4 Pro because the PlayStation 4 Slim deal was just so ridiculous that why would I go, you know, why discount the Pro?
Right.
When whoever's buying it, you're going to get that extra revenue. But you knew you were selling 2.5 million Spider-Man bundles this holiday.
You know what's weird is they actually did a full price cut for the PlayStation 4 Pro in Japan, but they didn't bring it over to the US. It's $50 less in Japan now. It's like $350. But they haven't brought that over to the US. I don't know why. That would have been a perfect price cut to have ready for Black Friday, but I don't get that. Maybe they'll have it for the holiday. It might even be a permanent price drop, by the way. I think it is in Japan.
I think, Japan, I think it was a permanent price drop because the Pro is selling in Japan, but PlayStation 4 sales in Japan aren't great.
The PS4 is underperforming in Japan right now. Yes, that is correct. They're focusing where their big audience is right now, which is North America and Europe. Japan is they're struggling in Japan. I will admit that. They're down heavily from last. It's going to get worse because last year they were breaking off some 90,000 unit weeks. And I don't know how they're going to do that this year. I'm looking at it and they are down badly from last year. So it may make sense because it's getting older, right? The PlayStation 5 is coming, which we're going to get into here in a second at some point. But that price cut, man, would have helped, I think, even in the US to just do even more sales for the Pro. Because the Slim with a Spider-Man at $200, that's insane.
Well, especially because some people might have bought it just out of desperation. There may have been some like moms with some money set aside who came there to get a PS4 Slim. It was sold out and would have grabbed the Pro if it was cheap enough. And instead, they probably left with an Xbox just since they wanted something that was like $200-ish.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, eventually we got to get to the point where everyone has a PlayStation 4. So it's going to be interesting because then Sony will probably have to start looking at that PS5. But interesting to see the sales and everything there. But Smash Bros. We're talking about this. No, we're not going to talk about any spoilers or anything because it's rude. We'll keep it very vague. But as most of us probably saw, especially tonight, it really took off tonight because people started streaming the game straight up, and people were also distributing the ROM online. So it's out there. Smash Bros. Ultimate is all over the place. It's leaked everywhere. People are making full videos on how to unlock this, that, and everything. All the data mining is taking place. By next week, you're going to know it's going to be everywhere. People are going to know everything about this game already.
Yeah. Can I just say that there was a stream going on earlier of the world's worst Smash Brothers player I mean, literally could not get a single hit to save his life. And the description box just said, "I'm bad at Smash, sorry," and a download link for the hacked game. It's like, yeah, bro, and then his channel name was his full legal name. So that dude is definitely in Nintendo jail right this second.
I feel like they probably got in trouble. I think people probably even reported this stream, to be honest, but I think they got in a little bit of trouble there.
They're in a whole.
I knew it. Nate was like, yeah, they're in trouble.
I mean, a few years ago, I think it was New Super Mario Brothers for Wii leaked in Australia. They found the guy and they sued him for over $1 million.
Whoa, that's like Rockstar level.
I mean, yeah, this guy doing this for Smash Brothers is going to get hit hard. It wasn't worth it just to sit there and say, "Hey guys, I got it. I'm going to reveal everything to you." There was no point in doing it. Like, thanks for the music remixes. Like, we got to hear some music, but once you went beyond that, you really screwed up.
Yeah, I hope they enjoy prison. They're going to get a lot of Smash in there.
Man, that's so yeah, Smash. But that's the thing. People are like, well, what's left to show? Believe it or not, I could, because I looked at some of the spoilers, some of the other stuff, just to get a grasp on what's out there. They actually didn't tell us as much as we thought they did. There are some things that are just hidden that we didn't know about. It's kind of impressive, actually, some of the stuff they kept hidden. Nate, you even talked about it to me at one point. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's in the game. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, at least Smash is the most pre-ordered Switch game ever right now.
I will say this: in the amount that I watched of that stream, the game looks good. I will say that the game itself looks good. They unlocked the character, they played it looked smooth, it looked responsive, and everything looked good. So
see, that's how the guy should have gone about the leaks, is just be like, "Hey, I'm playing against my friend. We're going to be on the F-Zero stage. Here's the new F-Zero remix for some music. I'm going to shut off all the background noises so you can hear the music and you can watch us play." And then it wouldn't have been that bad. It's once you get into the story stuff where it's, no, you don't do that.
Yeah, I saw that people were talking about World of Light and everything too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they leaked all the cutscenes.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. They did. Yeah.
Don't ruin the single player aspect of a fighting game, because, I mean, the single player is never that big of a focus, but don't ruin the whole thing for people 2 weeks before the game comes out.
I gotta be honest though, with looking at all this stuff, there is an obscene amount of content in this game, from what I'm seeing.
I will say that I'm glad I watched a little bit of one of those leaked streams though, because the game is so smooth. It's one of those things where it's nice to just see the game not played by Nintendo employees, not played by professional gamers, just some random doofus who's probably sitting in a jail cell right now. It was really cool, actually.
Yeah, because it's not a controlled environment, or anything like that. They're just playing.
Yeah.
But so all the music got data mined. It's actually all on YouTube right now. But we talked about, they said there was like this was during a direct, right? They were like, there's over 900 tracks or something like that in the game. There's more than that, actually. So it's ridiculous how much music. I'm surprised the amount of music in there. And then we saw on the eShop that it's like 13 gigabytes or something like that. It's something else. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. But don't be careful out there, because there's a lot of leaks going on right now. So the PlayStation 5. Apparently, there was a leak for the PS5. The reason that people are believing this person, this was on Reddit. I'm looking at it right now by Ruth Cookie. It's the name. So PlayStation Experience is coming back apparently in 2019, and that's where they're going to be showing it. But the reason a lot of people are believing them is because they called that there wouldn't be a Sony appearance at E3 before it was even out there. And they got yelled at quite a bit actually on Reddit as a troll. And then the next day that happened, and now everyone believes them. However, they did drop that information about the PS5 after all of that went down. So I'm wondering if they just kind of put that out there just to have some fun. But according to them, it's going to be a $500 system. It's a Ryzen 8-core processor, and it's a beast, and looking at 4K 60. Dev kits already out there. I think we already know that, right? We already know dev kits are out there.
Yeah.
They're going to showcase their new products at PlayStation Experience. Not surprising. They also, a lot of people miss this. They are saying that Anthem is getting delayed.
And so
about that.
That's the real test, is that this guy had basically a laundry list of claims that all sound very valid, but one of them at the very bottom is the fact that Anthem is being pushed out of its current quarters. So if that's true, we'll know that the rest of the laundry list is at least somewhat valid. So I'm very curious if that happens and it is being something that they're setting up to be like a cross-generation launch, then things are going to be really cooking.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they could even sell it for $500. I mean, 500 is more. That's more than the likes we have right now on this video. So I don't know if they could sell it. That feels like a lot.
It does, and smash that like button. But also, so my thing is, it's something I've seen people say. This is not my quote, but I've heard people say that like there is a separate income bracket of people who can afford $400 for fun and people who can afford $500 for fun. Like $500 just seems like a lot more cash. I mean, even to me, I definitely think that a $500 console better be nuts. So I don't know, that's the part that sounds the fakest to me personally.
Nate, what do you think about this PS5 stuff, man?
I think it's all crap.
Oh, okay. What exactly? Do you think they just got it right and they're guessing now?
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say it's all crap. I mean, it's using proven and known AMD technology for like the GPU and stuff, which is a safe bet that is what Sony will use in a PS5. But it's not going to be a 4K 60 frames a second machine. It's not going to be like some of the stuff I saw on Twitter of 20 teraflops. I mean, it's realistically going to be about 12 teraflops. I mean,
that's about right. Didn't who's that? Mark Cerny mentioned that you need about 8 to get good, like true 4K at least. So yeah. 12 is overshooting that actually a bit, which is fine. That's actually a pretty 12 is a good jump over the 1.8 that the original play. I mean, that's a pretty large jump there. So getting 4K, 4K 30 should be, I think, across the board at that point. And if you want to do 4K 60, you might have some dynamic resolution in there, but 4K 30, I feel like they're going to build it for 4K though, with of course their VR stuff thrown in.
Yeah, 4K 30, I think, is probably the target that they are aiming for. And I mean, there's just a lot of stuff within that rumor that it's either a safe guess. It just seems like a lot of safe guesses.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, this technology is out there. We know it works. We know it's already in mid-range to high-end PCs. By the time 2020 comes around, Sony could probably get it for a decent price where they could launch it in a $399 system. So it's a lot of guesswork that is just safe assumptions that make sense.
The reason I'm thinking 4K 30 is because we've seen how developers have gone. Developers have visual quality more in mind than frame rate at this point. Like they'd rather turn up as many of the sliders as they can and live with 30 frames rather than turn some of them down and live with 60, it seems, from what we've seen so far in a lot of the games. That's why I'm thinking 4K 30, which I think some of the games are going to look really cool, right? They're going to look pretty good, but I feel like I don't know. I'm more about that smooth 60 frame rate, to be honest. Like if games looked a bit better now, but they were all 60 frames on the next system, that would be pretty awesome. I'd be on board with that.
I'm definitely more of a resolution than a frame rate guy. Something about this that definitely makes it seem like it's fake is something a lot of people don't realize just in the general gaming public is that a lot of the major gaming websites knew that Sony would not be at E3 before the news technically came out. They actually sent out a secret press release being like, hey, this news is happening tomorrow. Like, you guys have a chance to like say this however you want, but we're just giving you a heads up. Like, we're going to release this big thing that might be a bit of a bombshell, which is how places like IGN had a video ready like 16 minutes after the news came out. So I think that maybe this whole fake set of leaks, if they are completely fake, could have just been like a random GameSpot employee who wanted to get some Reddit karma.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because that was out. There were a lot of places that knew about it. So even if it was under embargo, you're right. Someone could have heard it in the office and been like, I'll go pretend like I know everything and just go put this out. It's very possible. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, or it could have been like, I'll say I work for IGN. I got the press release 2 days before the embargo. I'm having drinks with my friend. Say, oh yeah, Sony's not going to PSX. Or they're not going to E3 next year. And now you as the friend are a jackass. You go to Reddit, you say it. And now you're like, oh, I got attention. I'm gonna be internet famous, and now you start running your mouth about nonsense PS5 tweet, rumors, and people are gonna be like, oh, I believe him because he got this one thing right, which is how we ended up with Falco as a rumor god.
Well, the same thing sort of happened. Remember when this whole big reveal event for Pokemon was going to happen? Like Spawnwave heard some stuff, and he whispered in our ears way long ago about the fact that when they were talking about that Pokemon event, nobody had any idea that we were going to see Pokemon Let's Go. We had no idea that there would be this Pokemon Rumble, but like there was enough stuff floating around that the people who are obviously invited to it, some of those people were mumbling when they shouldn't have been. So this could just be something where some guy is wanting to just stir up stuff and he knows the right ears to listen to. So it's just him trying to be a jackass on Reddit.
That's true. I did good. I kept very quiet with a lot of that stuff.
It's true. It's true. I remember you telling in my ear, and I was like, "What?
I knew that. I knew that entire event." Oh man, I was more so curious what people would react to Let's Go. That was going to be very interesting. But it went about how I thought, and then it sold about how I thought it would. So there you go. Yeah, PS5 is going to be interesting. I think we're all pretty much on the same thought process that it's probably a 2020 release.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I mean, they're gonna. Do we all think that 2019 is gonna be like their campaign to start showing it off and making the rounds with it, and then have it released in 2020?
That depends on when in 2020 they're targeting. If they're targeting early 2020, like a Switch release, then they'll gear up probably around E3 at the latest Tokyo Game Show. Mm-hmm. Go into the PlayStation experience, do a full type of reveal, and then you launch it 3 months later. If it's late 2020, you can wait till E3 2020 or whatever Sony wants to call their own event.
PlayStation, or whatever you call it.
1,000,000%. I think it's option A. I think that 2019 is going to be the year of PS5, and they're going to be dropping us hints and trailers for like ambiguous projects, and then maybe do some sort of present somewhere like Tokyo Game Show. Do their official reveal before. I would say they're probably going to do their official reveal of the PS5 probably 2 or 3 months before PSX. That way, when the PlayStation experience happens, it is just all guns blazing every single game. I think that's the way they're going to do it. That way they can launch it like early 2020.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great time for it, actually. I think that worked out really well for Nintendo to do that. Because look, when you launch a system, like when the PS5 comes out, like it's selling out like right away, right? It's gonna be one of those 24-hour sellouts like every other system does. So I wonder if even Sony looks at that and goes, well, we could just launch in March and get our initial sell-through done and then make sure we're stocked, because they always sell out in November before the holidays, and then it's hard to get the system throughout the holidays. And it's like, well, what if you did launch in March and then you're well stocked for the holidays when you're probably going to sell out again?
Well, and I think also as part of it is that Sony needs to finish out the PlayStation 4, and they need to finish it out strong. This year has been great. And what's really odd is I can say for a fact, there are big PS4 games that haven't been revealed yet. They're like official Sony, like actual PS4 games that people are going to want to play that haven't been shown anywhere yet. So I have a feeling that they're just going to put out all that stuff in 2019 to just basically get that last huge pavement, get all that cash, and then just jump into a PS5.
Talking about like a medieval kind of thing where they just kind of talked about that PlayStation experience. And then oh, cool. Okay. All right. I'm on board with that. I'm going to be playing. I'm probably going to, unless the PS5 is fully backwards compatible, my PS4 Pro will probably be plugged in still, even after the PS5 is out, because I'm pretty sure there'll be companies want to take advantage of that install base. But here's hoping the PS5 is fully backwards compatible.
It's got to be. Right? I literally bet my pinky on it. There's no way. It's got to be. If it's not, oh my God, is that the worst move ever?
Yeah, it's going to be really bad. Yeah. Hey, man, that's going to be bad. If they launch no backwards compatibility and $500, oh man.
Yeah. Then it will be a famously bad launch. I'm calling it now. If they say that it doesn't have anything like backwards compatibility, oof.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about backwards compatibility. I mean, it should be pretty simple.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. That's what we're all hoping. I mean, it's pretty simple, to be honest, to pop in a PlayStation 1 disc into the PlayStation 4, but we can't do that. So
right.
Every PS3 plays all PS1 games. PS4 can't.
So it said Sony got to use that Final Fantasy trailer to tease those PS5s again.
Oh man.
They're gonna. We all know it.
Is you think that game's a PlayStation 5 game at this point?
It'll be at least cross-gen.
Yeah, it's
We
going to be
hope.
cross-gen. I've said this before. I think what they're going to do is I think we're going to get the first part of the Final Fantasy VII trilogy is going to come to PS4 and then be ported to PS5, and then parts 2 and 3 of the trilogy will only be on PS5.
Oh, I thought you meant cross-gen between PS5 and PS6. Okay.
Oh my no! Oh my God.
It's
Don't
coming
pee in my
2025.
That's awful.
No, that's fine. Oh man, that's great. It's gonna be fun. I mean, I'm in for a PS5 when it comes out, so hopefully it is sooner than later because I'm ready to pick that up. Oh, Nate, we never asked you about your thoughts on the discless Xbox One. We covered that we covered last week. I don't know if you had any thoughts on it.
It'll be a cool little market experiment for Microsoft to really put their streaming technology in the hands of consumers to see how well it works. So if that is a direction they take with Scarlet, as we've seen with the rumors, that kind of get real world testing.
Right, yeah, because it's gonna be an all digital one, so it's not like you're gonna buy it and then buy a game like physically in the store. Basically, they're seeing if people will take it home and then they're okay to play just from their house without having to buy discs or anything like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine if the system, in the rumor of coming out next year.
Yes,
I can't imagine it's going to be some like huge shipment numbers. It's probably going to be a very small launch because it's just an Xbox One, and they're just going to see the interest levels. It's like, okay, and now we're going to get the real world information. Say, okay, it works pretty well. Okay, Oklahoma, where we sold 2, it didn't work that well because the internet out there is still terrible. Codes.
Japan, somehow we did negative numbers.
So something that's interesting about, so I booted up the new Xbox One I bought today. It installed all the firmware, so I set up a new Xbox in 2018. What's interesting is it talks a lot about Game Pass while the console is starting up now. It actually even tries to get you to sign up for Game Pass before you see the dashboard. And I actually think that's really interesting because I decided to do it. It had a deal where once you buy the console, it says, hey, we'll give you Games Pass for a month for $1. So
yeah.
Like, okay, cool. So I did the $1 Games Pass thing. And immediately it said, cool, you now have 112 games you can install right now. And I think that's what this digital thing is trying to do. I think already they're shifting their marketing.
Is that your first look at Game Pass?
No, I've got it before. I bought it early this year for the first time. And I thought it was all right. I bought it around Sea of Thieves.
Makes sense. I would keep it for Crackdown, I guess, just in case.
Yeah, well, I installed all the Fables today, so I'm going to play through all the Fables again for fun because they're just on there and free. Why the hell not?
Why not? Yeah, Game Pass is awesome. I like Game Pass a lot. So it'll be interesting to see that next year. I'm getting one anyway because we're gonna take it apart and check it out. I'm curious if the system is going to be actually smaller because the disk drive actually takes up a fair amount of space in there. So if there's no disk drive, then I assume they can make the thing much smaller. So that'd be kind of cool to see how they do that.
Thinking about buying one and put it in my spare room. Especially if it's only like $115 or something crazy cheap. I'd think about just buying one to put in my bedroom as my media box.
You know what's interesting? It loses the ultra. Was that ultra Blu-ray, the 4K Blu-ray playback?
Oh yeah.
That's like a big thing they keep pushing. Also, you can't use your physical 360 or original Xbox games in it then for backwards compatibility.
Well, aren't they did somebody? I'm trying to remember if this was Xbox fans speculating or not, but I heard somebody, maybe it was speculation, that they might have a program where you can mail them your Xbox One games and they'll make it digital to your account or something.
I thought the current thing was to take it into a Microsoft store.
That's what it was.
Microsoft Store,
okay.
Yeah.
I knew I'd heard something like that, but I wasn't sure that was confirmed. But if that's real, I wonder if they'll have that for everything Xbox related, and I can just literally give them my $2 copy of Morrowind, and now Morrowind installs forever.
Well, here's how you make a bunch of money if you're Microsoft. Then you make Teen Titans on the original Xbox backwards compatible, and then have everybody bring their copy into you because those things sell for like $80 on eBay.
It's true. It's true. And
Xbox.
and they got to start, just if they want to make a lot of money, start buying all the digital games that are gone. Like bring back the Scott Pilgrim game. Like just buy the rights to it.
Oh man, somebody make that happen. I want that game to come back.
Me too, man. It's so good. Best movie.
It's awesome. Yeah. Now you have to hack your PlayStation 3 to get it back. It's a shame. Yeah, man, I would like that game. That game would sell. I will say this: based on indie sales on the Switch, that game would sell ridiculous on the Switch if they get that to come back.
Yeah, I feel like they'd probably have to retitle it just because I feel like people don't know what the hell Scott Pilgrim is anymore. But I feel like they could call it like One Man's Journey, and people would buy the hell out of it.
For how much they would probably cost to do with the licensing, they'd probably have to put it on everything and anything. It'd probably go on cell phones even.
Yeah.
Have to.
The 3DS.
Interesting. There was also something else came up. Max, you might be kind of excited for this. Maybe, man. I don't know how deep this goes or how serious this is, but Parasite Eve had a trademark filed for it.
That's interesting.
In Europe by Square.
Hmm.
Now, we don't know if this is
that Parasite Eve isn't on the PlayStation Classic in Europe, is it?
It is not. It's in Japan only, right?
Japan, yeah.
Yeah, only in Japan. So they trademarked it in Europe. Just Parasite Eve, just the name. And everyone's trying to figure out why they're doing that. I don't know if it was running up. I'd have to look at the trademark to see if the history on it, because you can look at history, but I don't know if that's the exact reason why they would do that.
Well, so I've beaten the entire Parasite Eve trilogy, and I watched the really bad Parasite Eve movie.
Oh man,
trust me, it is awful. But I think that I have hesitations that they'd try and bring it back. If you ever look at the numbers, it never sold particularly well. If they brought it back, it would be awesome, and I'd be very excited about it. But I just don't know if it would be worth their money and time. I wish it was, but Square just seems so focused on such weird projects.
Like The Quiet Man.
Oh God.
Did anyone else buy that, or am I still just the only one who's bought it?
I bought it and played about 10 minutes of it.
Oh
my
bad.
God.
The game, it's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
By the way, Max, I tell you, if you beat it, you get a patch that enables sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It still doesn't make sense, by the way. The game doesn't make any sense at all.
Can the people actually act, or is everyone like, hello, Jacob, you are the assassin?
I will at least give them some credit. Some of them can actually act all right. But remember that one guy, did you get far enough in the game? Like, it's not that far in, but the guy that he's kind of a jerk to, your main character, where he takes his like the cloth from him and wipes his blood and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently that guy was actually being a jerk to him, so it made me feel a little better about it.
Oh yeah. Instead of it just seemed like a one-way exchange.
Yeah. So it's still weird. It's still not a good game. It's still terrible. It's really bad. Oh man, that's so bad. Oh, also the PlayStation Classic is out. I keep forgetting this. PlayStation Classic is out now that you mentioned it, Nate, on the 3rd. Who's getting it now? Because I heard a lot of people are canceling this thing. I'm getting it, obviously, but now I'm like, who's getting it?
I'm reviewing it. I would not be buying it otherwise. Honestly, I'm very, very disenchanted with it now. I went from very excited to very not hyped. But mine should be getting delivered on the 2nd, so I should have a video up on the launch.
Dude, you're getting it on the 2nd? That's on Sunday.
Yeah,
getting it on the 2nd.
I have mailed to my PO box, and I just paid for ultra shipping. So my email says it's coming on the 2nd. So we'll see. I have a weird PO box place that's open when my post office isn't. So
I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see what you think about that system.
So my plan is to try and do side-by-side comparisons of everything I can, because I feel like the most interesting aspect of this is if you already own the games, is this something like, is the HDification of it good enough to buy? So that's going to be my main point. It's just literally be like, is this worth the cost if you've already played these games?
I like that, the HDification.
Yeah, thank you.
I like that. That's good. That's good. Are you getting it, Nate, or are you passing on that?
I'm passing on that.
Okay. Yeah, I figured a lot of people probably would after I guess just the titles came out. It really wasn't. Well, I mean, it wasn't anything people were running out for, really.
The games I'm pretty okay with. They're not everything I want. My problem is once all the impressions videos came out and you saw just how like thrown together this thing is.
It's using a free emulator, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, a free emulator that doesn't even seem to be optimized for whatever chip they're using. And the weirdest part is definitely the fact that it doesn't really have a menu. Like it's just floating orbs in space, and you click one, it becomes the game.
I thought about this too. I wonder if Sony knows that Nintendo is working on their 64 Classic, and they knew it wasn't going to be around this holiday, and Sony was like, let's get this thing out the door because there's not going to be a 64 Classic. Let's just get that out there.
The way I think it is I think it's that these people had enough time to make it, and I think they meant for it to come out now. I think it's that it was just a really tiny. I've heard about a lot of people in like Ubisoft. They're just little 6-man teams in Ubisoft that just make tiny little projects, like some of those crappy Pets games and stuff are made by Ubisoft. It's a 6-man team.
Right.
This thing seems like it was a 6-man team. They just said, okay, you're an engineer, you're a programmer, you're the archivist, and you're the legal expert. Make me a PlayStation Classic in 6 months.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. This looks like something they were working on their lunch break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like it doesn't look good. Like it's very odd. Like frame rate issues in Tekken It's like, why are you playing Tekken if there's frame? Like, I don't know how you do that.
Mhm.
We'll see. I mean, I'll check it out and everything. Obviously, we'll take it apart. That's the thing I'm really curious about is the hardware inside, because I think if I'm talking to people, it might be the same chipset that's in the Super Nintendo Classic. It's very possible. It'd be very interesting because the Super Nintendo Classic runs PS1 games around the same quality from what those people were describing, and of course, Digital Foundry will probably break it all down and talk about it as well. So that'll be interesting to see all of that. Let me go through some of these super chats here, and then we'll do some Q&A stuff. That'd be fun.
Yeah, we got that one Discord question as well.
Cool. Wesley says, love you guys. Thank you, Wesley. Jesse Moore says, hey guys, looking at a DS for my 5-year-old and 7-year-old boy and girl. Which one do you recommend? Who has best warranty on these things? Are you Jesse, you're thinking of like it depends. If you're thinking of like a 2DS, just like not even an XL, like just regular 2DS, which would probably work pretty well. 2DS XL at least closes, but they're more expensive. Whereas I feel like if they break a 2DS, you'll be less annoyed than if they broke a 2DS XL, because one's 80 and one's 150. I might go with just the regular 2DS, to be honest, because you can get one with Mario Maker, or you can get one that comes with Mario Kart. Yeah. Max, which game did yours comes with?
Mario Kart 7, and I love it. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Mario Kart 7 has lots of unlockables, extra characters, tracks, and stuff. So it's one of the things where not only your kids can have fun with it, but your kids can play with each other with the local co-op, and it'll keep them interested because it keeps doing stuff. It's not one of those games that you beat and put down.
Okay. So yeah, I guess you go with the 2DS XL bundle. Just keep in mind they're $150 each, rather than like I said, you can get the Mario Kart 7 2DS for $80. If you're buying for 2 kids, it's a little more manageable. But the 2DS has a massive library of games. It's ridiculous. 2DS, 3DS, whatever. It's ridiculous because you can also go back to the original DS as well. And there's a lot of games, especially for like a younger audience. There's a ton of stuff. There's stuff for an older audience as well. Obviously, you got a ton of games there. So that's a good pickup, especially now where everything's getting cheaper as we go along. So definitely a good pickup. I guess for warranty, you might be able to buy directly from Nintendo. But otherwise, I think even like Walmart's have and Best Buy probably even have like the protection plan where you can get like more time on it. But I think Nintendo might offer that as well. So
I would. Comes with the default 1 year from Nintendo.
Yeah, it does come with a 1 year from Nintendo. And honestly, at that point, they might even be interested in, because you might be cycling back around to Christmas again. They might want the flip up one if you get the regular. So that's my advice there. I would look at either the XL or the regular, depending on pricing, and just see what you think. Either way, just make sure you get one that comes with the game, because they all have bundles at this point. So get like Mario Kart 7. That's a fun one. Or new Super Mario Bros. 2. That's a good one as well. Steve Jones, no message, but $2. Thank you, Steve Jones. And Evan, what is our Discord question?
All right. This comes from Level Up Spuds. Hey, SpawnCast crew, did you guys see the new Detective Pikachu trailer? And if so, what do you think about it?
I've watched it like 900 times. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Did you see the Alex Jones redub of it?
They're putting frogs in the water.
I'm gonna be honest. It's better than I thought it was gonna look.
Right? Yeah.
I when I heard it was out, I was like, here we go. and I watched it. I was like, that was actually good. I was okay with that. I liked it. I thought Mr. Mime looked a little weird, but his scene was at least funny.
Wearing human skin, like that was a little ridiculous.
Did you hear that the guy, the person who did the
realistic Pokemon?
Yes, they got hired onto that. I was like, that's cool. Their drawings are terrifying, but that's really cool.
And that's why, if you're a big Twitter user, if you can, retweet artists instead of just screenshotting it and sharing it, type of thing. Because that guy seriously got his job because he just had so much viral art that when it came to making a realistic, creepy Mr. Mime wearing human flesh, they went, oh yeah, that's the human flesh guy, and they hired him.
Yeah, it's really neat. What do you think, Nate?
I actually didn't watch the trailer.
Wow. Okay, I would go check it out, because you might be surprised. It actually was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the only animated trailer I've seen recently is the Dragon Ball Super Brawley trailers. So
well, it's not even animated. It's live action. It's live action.
I saw like a picture of Jigglypuff, and it looks like something Tim Burton would have created.
Yeah.
So I mean,
The Jigglypuff had like its own, like people had like their own threads on Twitter and Reddit and stuff because Jigglypuff was like furry.
Yeah.
Like had like hair and everything. And that,
And
like,
people were
bothered
mad.
people.
Look, it's supposed to be a balloon. It's like calm down, people.
That's great. I mean, it just shows how into this stuff people are. It's got that fandom. That's good.
Just before we move on, I want to say I like the fact that they're kind of showing us. I feel like in the Pokemon world, we've never kind of shown the fact that it's a real world. Like, not everybody is a Pokemon trainer. Some people are going to be cops, and there's going to be cooks and stuff. So it's kind of I kind of like the fact that it's like, yeah, let's just do something totally random and then bring Deadpool into it.
Yeah, so I would check that out, Nate, just to see what you think about it. I'm curious. You'll have to let us know next week what you think about it. Let's go. You guys want to go to Q&A in the chat now?
Cool, yeah.
Some Q&A before we finish up here. I did see Noah Sanchez said, did you see that Nintendo is hiring for a manager for Nintendo Switch Online service? I saw that. And I think somebody had to clean out their desk and move on, more than likely, because well,
it sounds like it's just the American liaison to the Japanese company anyway.
Oh yeah, well it sounds like
you got to know Japanese. You have to.
Yeah,
it's nothing. It's just it's nothing.
But it's fun to pretend that somebody got fired because of their dumb trailers.
And more than likely somebody was like, "I'm moving on, guys. Go find someone else to work." And that was it, probably. People probably picture a whole scene where they kick the door in and fire him and like maybe throw the stuff off his desk and yell at him or something. But
someone walked in and goes, "Did you see the amount of dislikes on that video? You're fired."
This is a good question. Deathwish Cassidy says, what's worse, Fallout 76 or The Quiet Man? That is actually a harder question than you might imagine here.
Well, not really. I mean, on a gaming level, it should be 76 because that's a more recognizable game. More people were looking into it, whereas Quiet Man's that thing you kind of look at and go, maybe not.
Yeah, but Quiet Man kind of works and kind of doesn't because it doesn't have sound.
Well, the biggest thing is Fallout 76 is 4 times the cost, so it's at least 4 times suckier.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah.
Also, the biggest hill I'm going to die on is at least you can play the Quiet Man. Sometimes you just can't play Fallout 76.
Also, Quiet Man's $15.
Yeah.
I mean, Fallout will probably be there next week, but
Everybody just take turns stabbing the dead body because Fallout ain't getting up.
Oh man, that was. I can't believe Bethesda messed it up this bad. Like, it really is like mind-boggling.
It's not that shocking.
I think they just needed a game out this year that they think could sell during the holiday because they didn't really have any releases.
Well, here's the thing. I would have more, I guess, empathy for them if they actually sent review copies out on time. And like, it felt very purposeful for Fallout 76. I will say that it felt very purposeful that there weren't a lot of reviews done on launch day, and everyone went out and bought it because it's Bethesda. And then when your review came out pretty quick, Max, but like we didn't get the Metacritic score until like 5 days later.
I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat. The thing is, those people were afraid to release the reviews. I'm going to totally stand by that. So the thing was, you could play a total of 36 hours of the game in the beta, which is what I did. So I played almost that much. I played 30 hours of the beta, leveled up a ton. The game came out. I played 20 hours of the final game to really try and test everything and see if they managed to fix it, and they didn't. So it means easily somebody could have put about 60 hours into that game by the end of day one. And I'm sure a lot of those reviewers did. I think that they were just afraid to, like, a lot of the major websites were just afraid to come out and be like, oh God, Bethesda's dead.
Oh no. Batman made a good point here. Metal Gear Survive is over Fallout 76.
Oh God.
Metal Gear Survive isn't that bad of a game.
I mean, it's functionally it works, right? Like, it's not like Fallout doesn't work a lot of times. This actually technically works.
I mean, Metal Gear Survive has some weird mechanics, but once you get over that hump, it's actually pretty. I'm not going to say it's not good, but it isn't awful.
When you get hungry and the game isn't hard to see anything.
Yeah, it makes it blurry. But you get it a couple hours into the game, you start to make things that can purify water and make food pretty quick. But I just hate the early base building so much. That was my thing. Is like even getting to the point where you're not constantly blinded by thirst was so annoying to me.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't it's not like Umbrella Corps, where, I mean, even that wasn't god awful. Once you learn the mechanics in Umbrella Corps, it was actually a pretty decent team shooter. It was just nobody played the game.
It actually had a competitive scene for half a year.
The funniest thing about the Umbrella Corps at launch was that they didn't make it where, like, no matter how you were moving, every style of movement was maximum speed. So everybody, when it came out, was sprinting while laying down. So everybody was laying on the ground, running about 60 miles an hour like Spider-Man. It was like, oh, okay, that's what kind of game this is. I got it.
Let's see. Why don't we have this is from nothing? Why don't we have Super Monkey Ball port on the Switch? Didn't we talk about that last week too? I remember we talked about Super Monkey Ball at one point, and why
we keep bringing it up once in a while. I can never remember why though. I think it's more for like the bundle deals and stuff.
Because it's an amazing game that should be HD'd, but the original development team doesn't even exist anymore.
I think that was fun on the GameCube.
I think the original talk we had was more for the virtual console, but not actually called virtual console side of the Nintendo Online.
Yes,
the possibility of it coming up.
Well, technically, Sega could do it now because they have that.
Sega
they could actually do it because they have the hardware that they had Monkey Ball in the arcades.
Yeah, if they drop that on Sega Ages, I'm in for that.
Yeah, they need to do Skies of Arcadia first.
I think they're doing Dreamcast. I think they are doing Dreamcast games. I think that's something they're actually working on right now, which would be really cool because M2 is very good at their emulation. Like if you play Sonic or what is it, Thunder Force 4? Sonic's pretty good. They added in like the drop dash and everything, and they have like the online replays where you can watch people run through and speed run stuff, and it's pretty good. They do a good job with that. So I would love to see them tackle a Dreamcast game on the Switch. Guys of Arcadia, be cool. Jet Grind Radio.
I'd be cool with that. Skies of Arcadia is top of my list, but also I'd really love to see Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 definitely come back.
I'd love to see 2. I like 2 just because of the opening level where you surfboard down like the the road and everything. That was great.
Yeah.
I'd be on for that. Oh, Phantasy Star. Well, they'd rather just bring over the one that's in Japan right now. Phantasy Star 2. Online.
Yeah. I'd be cool that, man. Phantasy Star Online. I like the originals more. Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2 more. So definitely want to see that come over. That'd be so rad, especially if it has like the local online, the way that the local multiplayer like Diablo 3 has. I would totally buy my girlfriend Phantasy Star and we'd play through the whole damn game.
People keep asking about Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 with that same engine. So I have more confidence in that engine when it's not online.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. So I think Elder Scrolls 6 and I think Starfield are going to be okay, but as long as they don't go online. Once they go online, there's a problem, obviously.
Well, because offline, at least with how Bethesda games work, you're going to have that community behind it who goes, this questing system sucks, these weapons and how they scale suck, and then they fix it. So even if you get it day one and you play it and you're like, oh, there's a little bit wrong with it, you can go back to it in about 5 or 6 months seems to be the average, and check the mods listings for these things and just be like, oh, this fixes everything, and then you're good after that point.
Yeah, my biggest fear is not just the games are going to be broken. I'm afraid that Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 are going to look like Fallout 4. Like, I'm afraid that it's just going to look like that they're just perpetually stuck in the same graphic style forever.
Yeah, I think it's going to look very similar to that. Yeah, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they can do about that. Joshua, you need to try Wind Waker. You need to play Wind Waker. I'm seeing you there in the chat saying you want to play it really badly. I don't know if they'll ever bring that to the Switch because I don't know if they really need to, but that's something you want to play. When do we think Dragon Quest XI drops on the Switch?
Who the hell knows?
I'll give him September 2019.
You think it's even
I'll give him that.
Aren't they doing like a complete, like they just started like the full remake of it like in the summer? Right?
They announced that. When did they announce that game? Was it 2015?
Yeah,
on the Switch because it was the NX at the time. Yeah. I would hope that they'd have it out at the end of 2019. But maybe I don't know. Maybe they really do have a ton of work to do.
I seem to recall them saying that they had just begun sometime this year. I thought, or it was late last year. They said that they had like officially started on the Switch version.
I think they said they were in like full production or something.
Yeah. But that's my worry is that I'm not sure it's going to be so different. Isn't it going to have like a pixel art style and stuff?
I think they're getting the PS4. You're talking about the 3DS one, which I would love to try the 3DS one, by the way. But we don't have it. Apparently, it's just going to be the PS4 version moved over in Unreal.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, yeah, definitely, yeah, September. For some reason, I thought they were bringing over the 3DS version for some reason.
They should have just. I don't know why they didn't localize the 3DS one. That actually probably would have done all right, and it looked really cool.
They do that a lot. Remember that Ni no Kuni got a 3DS version that was apparently super.
How is that not on the Switch? That is such a good game too. The first one, the second one, first one was awesome.
And that's the thing is they released like a special drippy edition and everything of the first game. It was a really big deal in Japan, and then in America they're like, screw you guys.
Yeah, man. That would have been great. When do we think? What's speculation on? What were you saying, Nate? You say something?
Just Ni no Kuni's a cool game.
Oh gosh,
are you about to bag on my bro?
There we go. No, he's doing that thing where he like brings up a game.
It's a cool game,
and he's
okay, Nate. Thanks for the bat.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool if it came out again at some point on some system that you can take with you.
It would be cool to see on like better hardware, wouldn't it? Though.
Oh man,
I hear it's better than the second one from what I've been describing. So I'd like to play.
The only way to play it is on the PS3.
And I don't have one, but I do have a Switch though.
PS3, yeah. If only it released on the Switch.
Only it came to like the PS4 or the Switch or the Xbox someday, then you can play it.
You guys heard in chat, everybody needs to pray as hard as they can, and our prayers will make this game real.
If it does come out as a re-release and they put it out and everything, you want to play Ni no Kuni 1. That was such a good game, and it's a shame they've left it on the PS3.
Ni no Kuni 1 is easily has 100 hours of side quests that are all a little bit different, and that's kind of cool to play an entire freaking game that doesn't really try and repeat. A lot of them have full voice acting. I would definitely do a re-review of that for sure.
It is on PlayStation now as well, you're right. But I mean, if they brought it over to all the platforms, it would probably be 720, 1080 on the Switch, and then probably 4K on the other platforms. So I would hope for that. And it's local, and of course, that's a game that's an RPG. Most RPGs do play pretty well as like a portable because it's slower. You know, you're mostly making menu options and everything, so works well there. But yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be all in for Ni no Kuni coming to the Switch, Xbox One, and PS4 and PC as a full re-release. That'd be neat. Good game too. It was on the DS, the original DS, right?
Yes. No, 3DS.
3DS. Sorry, 3DS. Okay. Wow, that's interesting that they only put on the 3DS. It's weird. I wonder why that is. When do you guys think Animal Crossing is dropping? I saw that in chat as well. Any guesses on that? I mean, none of us really know when it's coming out because Nintendo hasn't told anybody.
Yeah, I have no
June or July.
Yeah,
I was thinking June as well because that just looks like a summer game to me. Like something about Animal Crossing, it's all bright and you're out like doing stuff about in like in the town and everything. It feels like a summer game. It doesn't really feel like a winter game.
I don't know. It does have some pretty awesome like winter music in the games though.
Yeah, but I mean, like just the game itself is all bright and colorful and happy, and they would probably want to have some decent anchor game at summertime, and I think that'd be an awesome game in June to have.
Yeah, they'll probably put in July-August.
Okay, I can go with that. The one that's gonna be weird is if they put Luigi's Mansion anywhere but October. That would be weird. But Animal Crossing would be a good summer release. Also, that means it'd be closer to us now, so I'm in on that. Fire Emblem is spring or summer. I think Fire Emblem's gonna. I would like to believe Fire Emblem's gonna make it into the fourth quarter, but it might not.
I think. Well, I mean, if they stick to tradition of prior Fire Emblems, we're probably looking at late April, early May.
Okay, so it probably wouldn't make it into the fourth quarter. Then that'd be in the first quarter of their next fiscal year. Metroid Prime trilogy in the chat.
Yeah, we definitely got to fit the Metroid Prime trilogy in.
Yeah, that has to be fit in somewhere too. I mean, if they announce that,
if it happens, I would guess like February.
I want to give February. I want to give him February on that, right?
Watch Nate just start being like, "Yeah, if I were them, I would say February 21st, 2019."
What day is that?
I would copy exactly what they did with the Bayonetta 1 and 2 for Switch. Put it right around like Valentine's Day. Their love letter to Switch owners is the Metroid Prime trilogy.
How about we do this? Okay, this is what we're going with. Metroid Prime trilogy coming out February 15th. That's a Friday.
Yeah. Anybody notice that the more juicy a leak that Nate's talking about, the closer he gets to the mic until he's eventually like February.
That's right. No one can not supposed to hear me too clearly.
Yeah. Metroid Prime trilogy would be pretty cool to hear about soon. If only there was an event that they could talk about it at. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, if only Nintendo didn't wear like a Metroid shirt while teasing the event. I mean, what else could happen? Federation Force HD?
Oh man.
Obviously, that's the
Put that
choice.
energy out there.
Oh man, I want Metroid Prime Trilogy so bad. I want it to happen.
Yeah, I owned it on Wii, and of course that was pretty good. But yeah, I just want to be able to play through all of them again, and also I think it'd be interesting to see what they do with Corruption, because Corruption did have quite a bit of motion controls. So I'd be curious to play through it on the Switch with all like button controls.
Yeah, I guess they would have to do that because in handheld mode it wouldn't be practical. I guess you could move the Switch itself around, but I wouldn't see that as very practical. I don't think. Oh, that's a good question there by PA. Oh, how much do you think the Xbox discless system will be?
$150.
So I think there's a range. I think I assume they have to decide. We assume they're going to try to make it as cheap as possible, right? That's what we assume. So that would be I assume a 1 terabyte system at 150, or they do a 2 terabyte at 200.
I think it's going to be as close to $100 as they possibly can. I think that this is going to be like their arcade edition, where they just tried to put something out there. I think there's going to be a model of it that's probably 100 or 120 with 500 megabytes of internal, or 500 gigs.
That would be crazy. If they, okay, So they could. I mean, if they can get it lower at some point, it's gonna be the controller that's taking up some of that money, or if they didn't have to put a controller with it, they could sell it for $100. But which sounds crazy, but I've seen Nintendo sell things without power cords, so who knows anymore?
Yeah, it's true. Anything goes in this business.
Who knows? Yeah, that'd be cool if they got it out there at 1 terabyte, 150. I think that's a good price, Nate. I think that's a compelling price. That's almost probably is impulse buy territory,
Yeah, I mean that's what they need to get is the impulse buy of just get the curiosity.
You think they got to pack? You think they got to pack in like Xbox Live or a Game Pass subscription of some kind, like a few months or something?
Yeah, you have to give at least 3 months of Game Pass.
I mean that's what some of the Xboxes come with now. So I'd be shocked if they didn't.
That's a good idea.
Now what I'm curious is if they start selling an optional peripheral disk drive, because remember Xbox did that before with the HDD, what was not the
HD DVD?
DVD, yeah. And so they could have a thing where like later on, if you want to upgrade your console, you can. I feel like Microsoft might be crazy enough to do that, even if it's just online only. That
would be interesting if that's just the future of it, where they take the disk drive out to make the initial system cheaper, and they can make the hardware inside better because of that, and still release it at like 500 or whatever. But then they have like $100 optional accessory that's like a disk drive, and you have to plug it in through the USB ports or some special port they have on the back.
Yeah,
that would be interesting if they did that. This is a good one. Jimenez asks, any predictions on what franchise THQ Nordic will buy next?
God,
I have one in mind, and it's going to be very interesting if they do it.
I'm going to say Mr. Driller for no reason.
So I'm going to give you an entire studio that they're going to maybe try to acquire. And I only think that's going to happen because that they're in trouble right now. And THQ Nordic always pops up when something's in trouble, and they're like, we'll take that.
They're the Batman with billions.
Yeah, they just show up and they buy stuff. And they had a very good quarter, making I think $160-something million. So they're in the business of buying, and Starbreeze Studios is in the business of struggling right now. Did you guys know about the Overkill's The Walking Dead? Do you guys know about that game? It's coming out in February. A lot of people didn't know it's actually coming out. They posted some fairly alarming revenue.
Yeah, I saw that.
PC right now, yeah.
That game needed to be big and it didn't, and they are panicking.
They're behind, of course. Starbreeze. You guys might remember that because they're behind Payday 2, right? What else are they behind? Dead by Daylight. Is that another one they're behind? I know they're behind. I know the big one I know them for is Payday 2. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's my best guess is that they would attempt to buy Starbreeze. I don't know if they buy Telltale. See, Telltale doesn't have anyone left. They're all gone.
You don't want to. Well, almost everybody that was at Telltale has been poached. There's nobody to buy now. You'd be buying the names.
Yeah, you might as well open your own studio and just hire those people yourself.
Yeah. And that's what I know for a fact. A lot of them went to Bethesda. I've talked to Bethesda people. They like scooped up a huge chunk of those people for all the projects they're starting.
Yeah, Starbreeze would also be Psychonauts too, as well.
Ooh, that's right. They are doing Psychonauts too. All right. So at this point, THQ Nordic has to save them.
Yeah.
There's no choice. They got to save them. Francisco asked, when do you think Gears 5 is coming out? October. I gotta pick a date. Hold on. October. Let's see. I need a Friday, right? Although they don't care. They'll put it out whenever. It's on Game Pass.
October 18th.
I'm going October 11th. October 11th.
I'm going to say October 23rd or some random day, and they're going to do that same thing again like they did with Gears 4, where you can pay $100 to play the game a week early.
Oh, no. Oh, man. That's the worst nowadays.
It is. I did it with Gears 4, though. I'm so obsessed with Gears of War. I have the Super Ultimate Edition.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. It's going to be on Game Pass, so I'll wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll wait. Question: Nintendo Direct this week. I maybe, I don't know. What's this week? What's this week? I guess it is Saturday, so it's not gonna be this week because the weekend's tonight. But I guess we could check with Gaming Intel, see what they got.
I mean, if they're good, I mean, I guess it could, but I don't see what's the point.
What would they do it for at this point?
All you could do it for is like New Super Mario Brothers, Travis Return, so whatever the name of the game is.
Maybe some third-party stuff.
I guess some indies and stuff. Because I mean, if you have Game Award announcements, you do that the following week, and then you're probably going to start the year off with a January Direct. So I guess you just get all those early January releases out of the way.
It could be a mini, I guess, where they just drop it. It's just like a 10-15 minute trailer of just some indies and some third-party stuff thrown in there.
Like you detail the season pass of Travis, because we know there's one, but we don't know what it is.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So
they still have it as their pinned tweet, so there you go.
I mean, I guess they're confident in it since they've left it up there for a month and they've guessed about 5 different days that have missed.
Yeah, they're confident in that.
That's what I would assume. If they're going to do it, it would be it would probably just be a mini that they would just drop on YouTube. We've seen those before, so that wouldn't be too surprising. THQ Nordic should buy the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series.
Oh God,
there's a lot of licensing there, which is one of the reasons that one of the best games of all time couldn't be on the PlayStation Classic. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, by the way. It's a shame.
Because people don't realize if you buy the rights to that, a lot of times you're not only buying the likenesses of all these people, the names of all these people, but the physical actual locations. You're buying like the digital rights again to real locations, and then of course a billion freaking songs.
So this is something that I forgot about. The Game Awards. This is from Nerd Hollow. Do you find it annoying that Xenoblade 2 wasn't nominated?
I do very much, actually.
What happened there? I'm confused right now because it missed the cutoff last year, but it missed the cutoff this year too. So it's in like a week of like purgatory or something.
Well, it made the cutoff for this year. It's just nobody remembered the game came out because it came out last December.
Yeah, because the awards are all about the hype, and if you're really hyped then, and then it kind of dies off as it gets closer, that just doesn't make the list.
I think that's why Red Dead's going to beat God of War, not because it's necessarily a better game, but just because the hype is higher, and because I think God of War's a better game.
But that's what happens every year for these game awards, is that you don't remember the game that came out in February or March. You remember the game that came out in October and September or November, and then they sweep the awards because that's what everyone is playing. That's what everyone's hyped up. That's what they're voting for because they just sat down and played Red Dead 2. They're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Then they're like, oh wait, God of War came out this year, or whatever.
And also a lot of most of these judges, there's 50 anonymous judges, or I think maybe they're not anonymous, but there's 50 judges. Almost all of them are like random dudes who work at like GameStop and IGN and Game Informer and stuff. And so because it is just kind of, okay, what's the last game I was required to play 100 hours of for work?
I will give them credit. Breath of the Wild did win last year, and that came out in March.
Yeah,
yes,
and
it was
Horizon
a launch game of the Switch, and it was one of the biggest releases to come out in the last decade. True. So it had tons of excitement, hype. I mean, it wasn't a typical March release.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
I'm on a podcast.
That's true. So I would, I hope God of War wins. I'm still behind God of War. So I'm not as on the Red Dead Redemption bandwagon. Going God of War. Celeste got nominated for Game of the Year because it's an awesome game. That's why.
I think Celeste should win.
Celeste is,
Interesting.
I played a lot of Celeste yesterday with my brother. Actually, my brother doesn't play video games at all, and he was in love with it. Like, he was digging it.
I wanted the Messenger to win. I wanted the Messenger to win indie game of the year, but it's gonna be Celeste. That's just the way it is. Although I don't know if Monster Boy will make the cut. I don't think it will. I think Monster Boy might be next year, which means we'll probably forget about it. Monster Boy's good too, though, as an indie. But the Messenger is very good. If you haven't played the Messenger, I'd go pick it up. That's gonna be it. We're done with the Discord questions, Evan. We're good there.
Yep, everything's set.
Let me double check to make sure I got any and all super chats, and we should be able to finish up here. Let me go around for all the people that joined us tonight. Max, where can they find you, man?
Just youtube.com/Dreamcast guy. I got a big rant coming up tomorrow morning all about Fallout 76, and I'm calling it my final nail in the coffin, basically summing up what I think of all the final patches and how this definitely should have been an early access project. And then obviously Monday morning, I'm going to be talking about Darksiders 3. I got a full review going up.
And then what about Nate? Where can they find you, man?
They can find me on Twitter at DirectFeedGames. From there, I have a link to my YouTube channel, also known as DirectFeedGames, where I have direct feed footage of Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and do comparisons of Switch games of docked versus undocked. Right now, I have a Warframe docked versus handheld video up, and I have that Toki monkey man thing, some gameplay footage up there on the channel. So if you wonder what a 1989 arcade game looks like on the Switch in HD, you can find out.
Okay, fair enough. And then Evan, you're on Twitter, right?
Yep, Twitter, Kimmerix Project. You can follow me there. I talk about usually projects I'm doing for Spawn Wave, projects I'm doing or getting ready for Twitch, just anything. It's how I get all my news out there.
And then if they want to watch the video version of this podcast right away, they can go on Patreon.
Go on our Patreon, which I think is linked below. It's just $1, and that gets you into our Discord as well as watching these almost immediately after we stop.
Okay, and then you also post these up on iTunes, SoundCloud, everything. As
iTunes
well, right
and SoundCloud, I think, are our main thing. But yeah, those should be almost immediately as well tonight.
So if you want to listen to the podcast, you can do that as well on those avenues also. And that's going to do it for episode 86 tonight on the SpawnCast. Thanks for joining. Sean should be back next week, OJ as well, and we'll have a full podcast for that and everything. So, guys, we will see you next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.